If you weren't glued to the Carabao Cup drama last night, then you need to take a moment and wonder if football really is for you. It was all live on Talksport and it was thrilling. 9 penalty shootouts. Stoke scored 6 goals. Wolves hit 5. There were a couple of 5-goal thrillers. Some sensational strikes. And Palace came from 2 down to win 4-2 with a hat-trick from JP Mateta. He scored more goals last night than he did in the whole of last season. Leeds had over 30 efforts at goal but still went out to League 2 Salford, and it was Spursy misery for Ange. Tonight Chelsea are under scrutiny as they face League 2 Wimbledon. That's live on Talksport 2, and on Talksport we're around the grounds with all the goals. The show coming to you live from Doncaster, bottom of League 2, as they take on Everton, who are bottom of the Premier League. Another night filled with football on the Talksport network. This is Kickoff.
Robin Matondo, who's coming in from the left, and he hit the ball low and hard into the back of the net, and Ibrox again erupted. Oh, it was quite sensational, end-to-end stuff at times. Rangers 2, PSV Eindhoven 2.
Gustav first time cross, Sterling turns it in for 2 for Raheem Sterling, 2 for Chelsea. What a debut for Ryan McLean. He's won the tie surely for AFC Wimbledon.
Everton rolled the dice, and all of a sudden they're taking their chance.
Oh, it's 1-0 to Doncaster.
A one-year there inside the 6-yard box, and Nottingham Forest are back in it.
Comes back out, Zarori! And Burnley and Turf Moor go wild. Harmer with the equalising goal for the Blades.
Lincoln in front, inside 30 seconds at Sinsselbank.
Hedges scores! Blackburn on the counter.
What a breathless, fantastic advert for Carabao Cup football.
It was brilliant last night. Expect more of the same tonight. Wimbledon are unbeaten in League 2 this season and knocked out Coventry in round 1. Tonight they face the 4-mile trip to Pochettino's Chelsea.
Well, the competition are important for Chelsea. It's true that the circumstances are not the best in that moment because we have many injuries and we need to deal after with the Saturday game against Nottingham Forest. We are going to try to put the best team to be sure that we are going to perform in the way that we want.
Chelsea 5-time winners of the League Cup. Last success was 2015. Forest have won the League Cup 4 times and they were semi-finalists last season. Tonight, Steve Cooper's side take on Burnley.
We've just got to really hone in on the stuff that we feel is making progress, as well as the stuff that we need to improve on, and just keep going, and keep going. So, and that's really where we're at.
Well, big night in the Carabao Cup and a big night in Europe for Rangers. Win away to PSV and they're back in the Champions League group stage. Here's manager Michael Beale.
It would be huge for the club and the fans first and foremost, and this group of players that are desperate to play in that competition again. Naturally for me and the staff, we're obviously, that's the aim, and the aim coming into pre-season, we have a huge test in front of us to see that be a reality.
Well, good evening, I'm Adrian Durham and we are in Doncaster where the sun is still shining, just little drops of it on the pitch. Blue skies above, floodlights are on, and we're all set for what could be a very special night here. 2 sides that haven't done very well in the league so far and maybe can take a breather and show what they can do in the Carabao Cup tonight. Doncaster bottom of the EFL, largely thanks to a massive injury list that they've got. We can bring you the teams. This is an 8 o'clock kickoff here. The show comes to you live from the Environment, from the Eco Power Stadium rather, and we'll be speaking to the Doncaster manager Grant McCann in just a few minutes' time. First though, it's Doncaster against goal-shy Everton. With the teams alongside me, Jim Proudfoot.
Well, the loss of 8 players to injury would affect any team, but it's particularly prevalent on a League 2 budget. So Donny's start of 4 defeats in 5 league games isn't necessarily representative of what the season has in store. They don't have the monopoly on injury woe. 5 of what many would regard as Everton's first-choice team remain sidelined, and there's the expected rotation tonight as Sean Dyche makes 4 changes to the team beaten by Wolves. New signing Beto is here. He's on the bench. There's a first start for Youssef Chamiti and recalls for Keane, Mikalenko and Godfrey. Doncaster make 2 changes with Richard Wood and Deji Satone arrested. Zane Westbrook and Lee Molyneux come in. Now, Grant McCann has played different formations in all 5 of his games so far. So it's a little bit of guesswork in terms of how Rovers might line up tonight. But it could be Lawler in goal, Bailey Aluwu and Senior as a back 3, Molyneux, Broadbent, Rowe and Maxwell, and then Westbrook in support of Farl and Joe Ironside, who once scored an FA Cup goal for Cambridge that knocked out Newcastle. Everton, Pickford in goal, Patterson, Keane, Godfrey and Mikolenko, Garner, Decore, Onana and Dobbin, with Chamiti alongside Danjuma up front. And as I mentioned, Beto is on the Everton bench alongside Tarkowski, Mope, Young, Gay, Branthwaite, Onyango and the substitute goalkeeper João Virginia. We kick off here at 8 o'clock.
Jim, thanks very much. Let's go around the grounds for the rest of the team news. AFC Wimbledon captain Jake Reeves had to come off injured at the weekend as the Dons continued their unbeaten start. Has he made the starting lineup at Chelsea tonight? Let's find out with your Talksport 2 commentator this evening, Sam Matface.
No, he hasn't, and we'll get to AFC Wimbledon in just a second. The new merchandising slogan around here these days says it's a 90s thing. Well, Maurizio Pochettino will hope it's not a 1995 thing, because that was the last time that Chelsea went out at the second round of the League Cup. Still no Lavia or Mudryk in the squad. Gallagher captains the team tonight, and Cucurella is linked with a move to Manchester United, but he starts. In fact, after teasing us with a number of teenagers in yesterday's press conference, it's just the 7 changes from Friday night's win over Luton for Maurizio Pochettino. Sanchez is the goalkeeper, Humphreys, Disasi and Colwell the back 3. Diego Moreira played against Wrexham in pre-season as a right wing back. We expect him to do so tonight. Cucurella the left wing back with Gallagher and Ugochukwu in the centre. Madueke and Matson will flank Burstow in attack. What about AFC Wimbledon? Well, the League 2 side, 5th in the division so far, unbeaten this season so far. Jake Reeves doesn't make it. It's another 6 changes for their manager, Johnny Jackson. Alex Bass is their goalkeeper, retains his place in goal. Ugundire is the right back. Lewis, Pearce, Johnson make up a back 4. Tilly Ball, who scored at the weekend against Forest Green Rovers with a header. Williams and Nerfville in midfield, and Pell will play behind Davison in attack. We're underway live on Talksport 2 at 7:45 tonight.
Sam, thanks very much. Yep, if you want to get Talksport 2, just download the Talksport app for free. You can swipe between the 2 stations. Burnley manager Vincent Kompany said clearly he'd be making changes for this tie at Forest tonight. So what's he done? Let's head to the City Ground with Talksport's Jeff Peters.
Well, Vincent Kompany is a man of his word, and Burnley, who've lost their first 2 games upon returning to the Premier League, have made 10 changes from the defeat by Aston Villa. Dara O'Shea remains. 3 of the summer signings make their full debuts. They are Aaron Ramsey, Nathan Redmond and Jakob Brun-Larsen. All have come off the bench in the league. First minutes of the season for Muric, Taylor and Ekdal. First starts of the campaign for Gudmundsson, Brownhill and Rodriguez. 7 alterations for Forest. Matt Turner remains in goal. Bolly, Aurier and Yates also keep their places from the loss at Manchester United. Debuts for the on-loan pair of Andre Santos from Chelsea and Argentine World Cup winner Gonzalo Montiel. First starts of the season for Niakate, Kouyaté and Wood, while Anthony Elanga makes his full debut. It's Forest and Burnley at the City Ground.
Well, Lincoln have been clean sheet specialists in League One so far this season. Tonight they're at Premier League Sheffield United. Watched by Talksport's Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, it's 4 clean sheets in 6 matches so far for Lincoln, unbeaten since that defeat at Bolton on the opening day. Sheffield United, by contrast, yet to win a point in the Premier League, though they came close to doing so against the champions on Sunday. That brought some real confidence to this place, but a first win on the board ahead of Saturday's visit of Everton live on TalkSport would be very welcome indeed. This is a huge week for Paul Heckingbottom in the transfer window. He wants as many in as possible before Friday's deadline. He's also got some new additions to integrate right now. And with that in mind, defender Austin Trusty and striker Cameron Archer make their first starts among 9 changes for the Blades. Davis in goal, Basham, Egan and Trusty, the back 3. Larouche, Norwood, Koulibaly, Bogle in the middle. Youngster Andre Brooks has never started for the Blades. He does now. He's behind Archer, who partners McBurney up front. As for Lincoln, 4 changes from Saturday's 3-0 win over Blackpool in League One. Jensen, the goalkeeper. Rowan, Mitchell and Ioma at the back. Jaden Brown, Burrows, Erahon and Smith in the middle. The front 3 unchanged. Mandroyu and Hackett support House, who leads the line. From Bramall Lane, it's Sheffield United versus Lincoln City.
Lincoln's Erahon scored an absolute beauty after some terrific build-up at the weekend as Lincoln beat Blackpool by 3 goals to 0. Now Blackburn enjoyed a cracking 4-3 win over Walsall in round 1, and for all 4 of Rovers' goal scorers that night, it was their only starts of the season so far. Expect more cup changes then from John Dale Thomason tonight at League 2 Harrogate. There for TalkSport, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, plenty of changes for both sides here tonight. Harrogate hoping to reach round 3 for the first time in their history. Their boss Simon Weaver makes 8 changes from the win over Morecambe as Oxley, Sutton and Thompson remain. Horbury and Smith come in for their first starts of the season. It's Oxley in goal, a back 4 of Ramsey, Smith, Burrell and Gibson. Horbury and Sutton sitting just behind Thompson, Daly and Ado, who are behind Jack Muldoon, who lead the line. 10 changes for John Dahl-Thomason from the win over Watford at the weekend. Dom Hyam retains his place and captains the side. There's a senior debut for Patrick Gamble and club debut, or full debut, for Valstead, the keeper, and Andy Moran on loan from Brighton. Valstead is the goalkeeper, then it's Gamble, Hyam, Scott Wharton and Pickering at the back. Tronstadt, Garrett and Buckley across the middle. Markanday and Moran either side of Gallagher, who lead the line. At the Environment Stadium, it is Harrogate Town against Blackburn Rovers.
And just a little reminder on Harrogate Town that their manager Simon Weaver, the ex-Lincoln defender, has been in charge there since 2009. His father Irvin is the chairman, but actually became chairman after Simon was appointed manager. But that is a long time in charge. I think tonight is his 728th game in charge of Harrogate. That is some going, and he's had a couple of promotions and an FA Trophy final win as well in that time, so he's been a success, no doubt. Now for the second season running, can Rangers roll over Eindhoven and make their way into the Champions League group stages? It's PSV against Rangers at the Philips Stadion with Talksport's David Tanner.
And it's a season-defining week for Rangers. Millions of pounds at stake tonight in the Netherlands. Then on Sunday they tackle Celtic at Ibrox. The loser tonight drops to the Europa League group stage. The winner earns an additional £12 million more in the Champions League proper. With that in mind, the Dutch FA gave PSV the weekend off, domestic duty at the weekend, to prepare for tonight. They've made one change at centre-back. Olivier Boscagli was injured at Ibrox and hasn't recovered. His place is taken by Gerdy Schouten. Rangers have made 2 alterations to their weekend win at Ross County. Jose Cifuentes comes into midfield. Dutchman Sam Lammers makes way. Rabbi Matondo comes in up front for Kamar Roof, who's not in the European squad. Rangers line up as Butland, Tavernier Goldson, Suda Barisic, Raskan, Lundstrom and Cifuentes. Cyril Dessers seems to be Michael Beale's centre forward now, with Todd Cantwell supporting and Robbie Matondo getting a chance tonight. Rangers have never lost to PSV in this tournament in 7 previous meetings. It was 2-2 at Ibrox last week. It was 2-2 at Ibrox last year. Rangers won the return in Eindhoven 1-0. How will they do 12 months on? It's PSV against Rangers. We kick off at 8.
And we'll keep you in touch with that on the Talksport network tonight. Delighted to say here at the Eco Power Stadium, home at Doncaster Rovers, the manager Grant McCann has joined us. You'll have half an ear on Rangers tonight, won't you?
I certainly will, yeah. Disappointed they never took the win at Ibrox, but I thought it was a great performance, so let's see how they get on tonight.
Well, they did it last season. Let's see if they do it tonight. Can you do it tonight? Doncaster against Premier League Everton, who haven't scored a goal yet.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the team they've put out tonight, they're really strong. So it's going to be a tough game for us. We both haven't started the season how we'd like. For us, we've probably in a little bit of a transition period at the minute with a lot of injuries. I think 13 was the last time I counted. Probably 7 or 8 of them would be in our team. But look, it's not an excuse for us to start. We haven't been good enough. But I know that once the new players start bedding in, we've brought 12 new players into the squad. We get some of these injuries back. I feel as if we'll start climbing up.
Grant, you've got a really positive performance against MK Dons at the weekend without the result. What positives do you take from that leading into this game?
We want to build off that, particularly second half. I don't think MK Dons had a shot against us, and sometimes you can say, look, you're 2-0 down. It's easy to start playing when you're 2-0 down, but I was pleased what I seen off the team. Majority of the game, we had a lot of chances in the first half and we never took. First 10-15 minutes, and I've always been a big advocate of the more chances you create, the more goals you score. So I want them to build off that.
That's an extraordinary number of injuries. If we just go back to that for a second, I read a stat that you'd had a lot of added time after the first 4 games of the season inside the first 2 weeks. Wonder if that's a factor. Is there anything else going on? Have you read anything into it? Or
there's a lot of historical stuff that we've walked into. And when I say historical, people that's had an operation come back and then having the same operation again to reoccur. And
is that George Miller's one of those?
Yeah, George Miller's one of those. John Taylor's one of those. Keelan Lavery is another lad who have been at Sheffield Wednesday and things like that. Is another one. So there's been a few of those. There's been some unfortunate things. Tom Anderson went up for a header here in the Mansfield game and sort of fractured his eye socket, broke his nose, couldn't see it at his eye. All sorts of things. Jamie Sterry, a new signing right back who we're really excited about, went for a tackle in the first game of the season. Thought it was a bruised toe. We ended up having an operation on his toe. So these things, that some things that we just can't control. And I know once we get players back, once the lads start bedding in stuff, we've seen a lot of it on Saturday at MK, and we've seen it at Hull as well, and also in the game here against Mansfield. So if you think of the 6 games we've had, 3 of them's been fine, 3 of them's been disappointing. We just want to try and get a bit more consistency.
You play different formations from game to game. Can you tell us what the formation will be tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we have played in a 4-3-3 nearly every single game, and at times tonight it will look like a 4-3-3, and at times it will look like a 3-5-2. So we want to be quite flexible in terms of how we want to play, but principles don't change. We still want to be on the ball, trying to control the game. It's going to be difficult tonight against a Premier League team, but we know we've got physicality at the top end of the pitch, so hopefully we can get up there, we can get crosses in for Foul and Ironside and people like that, and we can cause some problems.
I hear you're pals with Sean Dyche, but not for tonight, no?
No, I mean, yeah, I've funny enough, when I took over the first time I took over Peterborough, he was the first person I went to see, just to get a bit of advice and pick his brains a little bit about management and what it takes. And ever since then, we've kept in touch a little bit. So it'll be good to come up against him tonight. I've not come up against his teams many times, to be fair. So looking forward to that.
I don't know if you know their team, but I think it's fairly strong.
Yeah, we've seen the team. Yeah, it is. I mean, they've quality all through the team, and we're going to have to be good defensively tonight in certain moments, and we're going to have to, hopefully a little bit of lady luck shines on our side.
If you've picked his brains over the years, you'll know exactly what's going to happen tonight then, surely.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think everybody would know what the basics of a Sean Dyche team will be, and that will be hard work, energy, aggressive, in terms of the press. But then, we've seen that at Burnley in abundance, but this Everton team have got sheer quality all through it. In the midfield 3, the front 3, the full-backs are really, really aggressive in terms of their positioning and want to get forward. So hopefully it lends itself for a good game.
And Grant, what will be your final message to the players before kick-off?
Just go and enjoy it. That's what I spoke to them about today. I want them to play with no fear. I want to give our fans something to cheer about tonight. Be on the front foot. We don't want to be having any regrets after this game. Thinking, I should have pressed there, I should have ran there. I want the boys to go and play with that freedom tonight.
It's a weird thing that in the middle of the bad league run, you've gone to Championship Hull, your old club, and won. So what happened that night that hasn't happened in other games?
Difficult one, really. It's I felt what we had on in terms of the plan that night worked really well, and everybody, I think, once you've got 10 or 11 players performing to their maximum, you've got a real chance of winning any game. Maybe this season we haven't had that enough. Maybe we've had 5 or 6, 7 or 8, 1 or 2 not being to the levels that we know they can get to. But we feel like we're turning a corner a little bit. I know it doesn't look like that when you look at the table. The performance level that we showed at MK, we want to try and take that into tonight's game and try and keep that consistency.
And just finally, you're used to managing in the Championship. You've had a brilliant promotion with Hull from League One. You're used to the good times. Being bottom of the whole EFL, are you still enjoying it?
Yeah, I love it. I love a challenge. I'm fortunate I'm at a football club where it's, they're really calm and behind the scenes, and the owners are just, great in terms of that. And sometimes you want that little kick up the backside. Sometimes say, well, it's not good enough, but that's down to me. That's down to my staff to get that out of the players. And we're not getting too flustered or too annoyed by it. We know it's 5 games into the season. We know once we get players back, we know once we start clicking and new players start evolving a bit more, we'll start moving up the league.
Well, Grant, you're still smiling, which is good to see. Try and enjoy it tonight. Thanks very much.
Will do.
Appreciate your time this evening. Grant McCann, the Doncaster manager, with us live on Talksport tonight. Lucy Ward's alongside me. I thought that was a very revealing interview, but he is still smiling. He's still happy. Could be even happier if they get a result tonight.
Yeah, I think when managers have got that experience and they don't let themselves get too high when they're doing well and too low. You've got to stay somewhere in the middle, and I think that's what he's got about himself. I think he feels comfortable within his role here. I think Club Doncaster that run this stadium, run the football club, I think that they give the backing to him. He's come in and they're expected to do well. He's made signings, he's got injuries, and at some point it will click. So just need a little bit of patience.
Well, Everton have come out to warm up. And it's a big night for them as well, because if they do anything other than win this, and I think fairly comfortably tonight, then those doubts will remain. There will be no respite from the criticism for Sean Dyche and the players, and Everton will be back to square one with a big game at the weekend. Everton taking on Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. It's live and exclusive and only on Talksport. Join Faker Others on Talksport from 11 a.m. on Saturday for that. On Talksport 2 tonight, we've got commentary of Chelsea against Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup second round. On Talksport, we're round the grounds with all the goals as they go in the Carabao Cup and with Rangers in the Champions League as well. Well, both sets of players out here warming up at the Eco Power Stadium as Doncaster of League 2, bottom of League 2, prepared to face bottom of the Premier League, Everton in the Carabao Cup second round. I want to flag up a couple of things to you. On Sunday, 2:45, our coverage starts of a big Super League game. Wakefield at the bottom, just 20 odd miles away from here in Doncaster. They're bottom of the table, but they can get out of it. They take on St Helens in Super League. That's live on Talksport 2. Craig Murdoch and Paul Cook on duty for that. And Sunday edition on Talksport, 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. Brilliant new show. You have to listen to it on a Sunday morning to get a review of all the Saturday football. Sean Custis and Henry Winter in charge for that. And a Sunday edition on Talksport, a new show this season, 9 a.m. On Talksport tonight, we'll take you around the grounds in the Cup and in Europe, goals as they go in. On Talksport 2, it's live commentary of Premier League Chelsea against League 2 AFC Wimbledon with Chelsea Cup winner Scott Minto alongside Sam Matterface. Time now to get an odds update with Ladbrokes. Let's speak to Nicola McGeady from Ladbrokes. How are you doing?
All good here, Adrian. A busy evening on the cards.
It is very busy. Anything like last night, and we're going to be in for some fun, certainly some goals and some shootouts as well. Let's start with that commentary game we've got on Talksport 2. Chelsea should be too good for Wimbledon. It's that simple.
Yeah, it is. It should be a routine home win. Obviously, big gap in class, which is reflected in the odds. Chelsea are the heavy favourites, as short as 1-9 to win in 90 minutes. So there is no doubting who should dominate from start to finish and win, with very few backing a fairy tale story of Wimbledon winning. That upset is priced at 22-1. You don't see that too often, and the draw is 9-1. To be honest, we're not going to expect Wimbledon to get on the score sheet at all. Chelsea are 8-11 to win to nil. Noni Madueke is set to play tonight. He's 9-2 to score first and 6-5 to score any time, and he's attracting attention already. I expect to see goals from Chelsea in both halves. That's proving popular at 10-11 that they win in both halves. And tonight's goal line is set at 3.5, with over being a 4-5. Seeing money on 4-0 actually at 7-1, but 3-0 and 2-0 are the joint favourite in terms of the correct score betting at 11-2 in favour of Chelsea, of course.
All Premier League at the City Ground. Forest taking on Burnley.
Yeah, both sides obviously looking to bounce back after weekend losses. Forest, they're 6-5 favourites, with Burnley 9-4 and the draws 5-2. I don't think either side will prioritise the League Cup, with the Premier League survival, the main goal this season. So I think we'll expect to see a few changes for the teams. Chris Wood will lead the line for Forest, and he's 9-2 for the first goal. Jay Rodriguez will be Burnley's main goal threat, and he's 6-1 to score first. But both sides, they have struggled to keep out of the opposition early in the season, and it'll be no shock if we see both teams scoring. We do think that will happen, and we make it just 8-13, and we are expecting goals with over 2.5 goals, just 8-11.
League One, Lincoln have started very well. They go to Sheffield United in the Premier League tonight.
Yeah, I think Sheffield United were left a bit gutted at home to City on Sunday, where they were so close to getting their first point of the season against the most unlikely of teams. So they'll need to pick themselves up quickly, and they have the game tonight that could just be a nice confidence builder, really. So Sheffield United, we make them 4-9 to win in 19 minutes. Lincoln are 6-1, and the draw is 7-2. But as you said, I think Lincoln could really make them work tonight. They've been full of confidence after getting off to a great start in their division, and we could see goals in the cards with over 2.5 goals, 8-13.
And the game I'm at tonight, 8 o'clock kickoff, Doncaster, bottom of the EFL, taking on Everton, bottom of the Premier League. It's intriguing.
It really is. I think, we know Everton, they've endured a miserable start to the season, losing their opening 3 league games, so perhaps they'll get some respite tonight. Sean Dyche will rotate a starting 11, but the market still expects the visitors, to win comfortably here, with Everton just 1-3 to win in 90 minutes. Doncaster are 9-1, and the draw is 4-1. New signing, Yusuf Shermichi, he will start tonight. He's priced at 4-1 to find the net first. Doncaster will look to the likes of Luke Molyneux for inspiration, where he's 12-1 to score first. I'm not sure we're going to get fireworks in this match, Adrian. I think, Everton, they haven't scored a goal yet in the league. Doncaster, they've only managed 4 goals in their opening 5 games. So it's fair to say this could be a low-scoring affair, and under 2.5 goals is jumping out to me at 5-4.
I'm going 5-5, and then the longest penalty shootout in football history.
And say,
Nicola.
ha-ha, in your face, Nicola.
Yeah, just to prove you wrong. Nicola, thanks very much. Enjoy the evening. That was a look at the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18+, begambleaware.org. Just watching the Everton warm-up, the new signing Beto taking part with the rest of the subs as well. And I can tell you that Jordan Pickford in nets for Everton tonight has been in a long conversation with the keeper coach Billy Mercer. Might be about penalties, who knows, but it looks like a lot of preparation and a lot of intense conversation has gone on ahead of this game here tonight. We are half an hour away from kick-off here at the Eco Power Stadium. The rest of them are 7:45 kick-offs, apart from Rangers, who are also an 8 o'clock start. And we'll keep you in touch with all the goals as they go in on Talksport. If you want commentary of Chelsea against Wimbledon in the Carabao Cup second round, that's live on Talksport 2. Just download the Talksport app for free. You can swipe between the 2 stations. Yeah, Rugby League on Talksport 2 on Sunday afternoon, 2:45. There's cricket ongoing. It's the first T20 at Chesterley Street. New Zealand must be coming to a close in their innings. Sam Ellards.
And they have just come to a close, Adrian. England won the toss, said, let's have a bowl, please. And they'll be very happy with their evening's work so far. From New Zealand's 20 overs, they posted 139 for 9. You'd think that is a easily 25 to 35 run short of a pass score. England bowled very well in the power play, picking up 3 wickets. Well done, Bryden Cars. He picked up one of those wickets on debut. He finishes with figures of 3 for 21 on his home ground. England bowled very well, really, throughout the rest of the innings. We saw a lot of spin in the middle overs, and that was economical. Livingston 1 for 25 from 4. Rashid 1 for 18 for 3. Moeen Ali bowled 2 and picked up a wicket for 11 runs. Glenn Phillips tried his best to hold the innings together. He made 41, but there was nobody else contributing to the innings. Also a shout out for Luke Wood, who bowled at the beginning and end and picked up 3 wickets. But given the fact that England bat deep, and very, very deep, they got Sam Curran, who bats as high as 3 in the IPL, called to come in at number 8. You'd think this target should be easy for England from their 20 overs, and for victory in the first T20, England will need 140 runs to win.
It is time now to look at the latest football action with Ladbrokes. Well, it's an 8 o'clock kick-off here at the Eco Power Stadium. Doncaster and Everton still out there warming up. Let's go then to Bramall Lane. Sheffield United taking on League One Lincoln tonight. Dean Ashton is there for Talksport, and I want to talk about a player who's not actually playing for Sheffield United tonight. There was talk that Tom Davies, who's signed for the Blades, may play this evening. Not involved as far as I can see. Are they saving him for the game against his old club Everton, live on Talksport on Saturday, I wonder?
Be typical, wouldn't it, if he then starts that game? It's been strange, actually, that he hasn't featured more than I would have expected him to in this Sheffield United side. So whether that's a fitness issue or not, I'm not too sure. But
well, it is. I'll just explain something on that, because I was asking some questions about that this morning. Paul Heckingbottom has said that he actually hasn't trained with other players all summer. I do know he had 1 day in a training camp abroad. I think it was in Portugal with Joey Barton and Bristol Rovers, but that was 1 day. Joey said he actually looked good and said he's a really good player and still has a chance of making it at the top level. And you can remember back in 2017 he was the main man for Everton. They ripped Pep's Man City to shreds 4-0, but I think sort of COVID time onwards it's kind of gone wrong for Tom Davies, wrong for Everton as well, and he just had to get out and make a fresh start. So it may be that Saturday's the day.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, what a chance that would be for him as well against his old club. And it would be nice if it could be off the back of a win for Sheffield United tonight. And I'm fascinated as well, to see Cameron Archer. I thought he was so good for Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough showing how much they're missing him, and Akpom as well. I mean, his 11 goals and 6 assists in the 20 games for Middlesbrough was electric, and to see him up alongside McBurney with a really young player in Andre Brooks in behind them should be a fascinating watch to see how they get on.
Yeah, if you think about it, Cam Archer going for £18+ million And really, I know he was at Preston, but we've seen him, really shine for Middlesbrough. You're spot on. That's a hell of a signing. But the job is to keep Sheffield United in the Premier League, and he's got to be a big part of that. And it's interesting, they've signed a new defender called Trusty. I mean, the name alone should be enough to inspire faith and belief. But Austin Trusty at the back, he'll have a big job to do if Sheffield United are to stay up as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it was Mike just told me a great story that the local radio station interviewed him and was trying to explain what a chip butty is,
because that's the Sheffield United song, isn't it?
Well, and that's one of my favourites as well. And the fact that he just could not get his head round these chunky chips inside a butty with gravy. Brilliant. But I tell you what, he was good at Birmingham, and I think coming here, they clearly see him as a player that can get into that back three. Tonight's a great chance for him to show the manager that he's worthy of that, and alongside the likes of Egan and Bashan, it's a great learning experience too.
It is. What about Lincoln City? Mark Kennedy is a semi-finalist as a player with Ipswich, a semi-finalist with Wimbledon actually, way back when. Now going into management, he's had a lot of coaching roles, and he had an interesting season last season where they drew a huge number of games. I think 20 of the 46 they drew, and he said along the way, turn some of these draws into victories and all of a sudden it'll elevate you up the table. And it's early days, I know, but so far so good this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you touched on it earlier. I think the fact that they're keeping clean sheets with the regularity that they have done already at the start of this season, I think bodes very, very well. And that's obviously something he will have looked at with his coaching staff and worked on as well. Possibly playing a back three, but can change to a 4 as well, which he did in the previous round. And then they've got players at the top end of the pitch that can hurt teams that they've already shown this season in terms of scoring the goals. I mean, they finished 11th last season, and I think that was about right for where they were at. But to start the season the way they have done in what is a difficult division, I think shows that they've really come on over the summer, and there's been a lot of good work done in the summer.
They did have a reasonable season, I think, in League One. Mid-table, roughly it finished. Mark Kennedy said he was over the moon with it because of all the problems they faced as the season went on. They also had a good run in this League Cup. They got to the round of 16. They actually went 1-up away to Southampton after just 2 minutes, and were very unlucky not to maybe force penalties or even go through in the tie in the end. We know Southampton went on to beat Man City and go out in the semi-finals. One player in particular who's in the starting lineup tonight, Dean, Dan Mandrew, signed from Brighton, 2 goals and 3 assists already this season. The flashes I've seen of him this season, it looks like he is coming of age, looks like he could be a main player, not just for Lincoln this season, but one of the top players in League One.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm the same as you. The snippets that I've seen in terms of the highlights, he looks very, very good. So it'll be great to sit here and properly watch him off the ball as well as on the ball, looking at his movement, look at how he links up as well with Ben House and Hackett as well. Defensively, does he do that side of the job as well? And you can only really see that when you get here and you can watch the players from up high, in which case I'll be able to do this year. And you've got to say they have been really creative, Lincoln, in the transfer market. You look at their recruitment, they're having to be, these teams are having to be creative because there just isn't the budget there to go and just buy whatever players they want. And I think we're starting to see, in Leagues 1 and 2, the recruitment from certain sides is being creative, and Lincoln are an example of that.
I think it's going to be fascinating. Just a quick one on the clean sheets, because after the game at the weekend, they beat Blackpool 3-0. Mark Kennedy was asked about the keeper, Lucas Jensen. He said he had a great game. He also said, I'm going to be saying that a lot this season. Now, if I was a defender, I'd be thinking, hang on a minute, are you having a go at us? He's saying we're not good enough, and the keeper's going to be tested a lot. The keeper, though, I mean, he will love that. He probably is 10 feet tall, but he'll feel 10 feet tall.
Yeah, he will. I think that's obviously giving him a boost. But I think every side needs one of those top goalkeepers that, if the attack gets through that defence, that you've got a top goalkeeper that can get you out of trouble. And also, I tell you what it does do, it gives your centre-backs and your defenders so much confidence to be, I think, a little bit more aggressive in the way that you defend if you can trust your goalkeeper behind you.
I just want to bring in Lucy Ward, the former Leeds striker, who's alongside me here at Doncaster tonight. You have been not just watching the warm-ups, you've been studying the warm-ups. So I need to know what you've gleaned from these warm-ups.
Right, this is all about being a co-com, and it's about recognising players. You know the players. Obviously, I don't know Donny as much as I know Everton, but it's about looking about how they run, the colour boots that they wear, and it's just so it's easy to recognise them. And also, if you see anything like warming up in a back three or back four, although Donny had just been quite general at the moment, and he's been saying we've got a back four out at the moment, but I think that we were talking to Jim before, Jim Proudfoot, and he thinks that it might switch to a back three and just push the right side, Owen Bailey further up, and I think they're quite fluid with that. But yeah, that's just getting little tidbits. Actually, I'm watching Beto as well. He's just stood there watching everybody else thinking, I think I might be better than you.
He might be right as well. So you're saying that Grant McCann was playing mind games with us, because he said a 4 and they are warming up in a 4.
Yeah, I thought he was your mate. So when he said a 4, but then Jim says a 3, I'm like, I just go with Jim because Jim's so clever.
Well, Jim's my mate as well. So Jim, what have you got to say for yourself?
I think it will be a 3 by and large, so that they can defend with 5 behind the ball, but they will have the option of moving Maxwell from left back forward to a left wing back, and Bailey will shift in to play on the right of 3 centre halves. That's how I see it. So I think that when they're going forward, it'll be a 3-4-1-2 for Doncaster. But I think that there will be times when it might be a 4 as well.
And I want to bring in Dean Ashton on this, because we talked about the formation changes in game that Grant McCann has implemented this season. Different formations for the game, different formations within the game as well. And I just wonder, at that level, at the level of League Two, is that part of the problem maybe? The players might not have that game intelligence, with the greatest of respect to them, to actually implement it effectively mid-game.
I love the way he talked about his team almost being fluid in the way that they can interchange their system. And I've played down in League One, and I can tell you there's definitely some defenders I played with that wouldn't have a clue how to change from a 3 to a 4.
No names.
Not. Oh, I can't. But they wouldn't, and I think we are quite simple as footballers, and the more simple you make it, I think the easier it is for a lot of players. But nowadays, that is the way. That is the way that you have to be adaptable, that you have to play in a different way, even in the same position, and even down in Leagues 1 and 2, that has to be the same for any player, and especially defenders as well.
Joe, Dean's right, because they're struggling, because they've only won that game in the cup. If you simplify it for players, they'll find it easy. He needs to get back on track. I mean, it might not be tonight because they're playing against the Premier League team, but he needs to get back on track really quickly. So when you keep changing what you're doing, then the players look and think, does he really believe in what he's doing if he keeps changing formations? So you've got to take the players along for the ride with you, and however you do that, they're with you. I think at this stage it just needs to be simple for Donny.
Are we on the brink of saying Mike Bassett style 4-4 flipping 2?
Well, it probably might be actually, but no, they prefer that. I think that, like Jim says, I think there'll be a little bit more compact defending.
Well, let's see what happens. This one kicks off at 8. Doncaster are still out there warming up. Everton have just made their way down the tunnel for the final words from Sean Dyche. And we have been told that he does that pitch marking. Told you he was striding purposefully on the pitch when he arrived. Does that every single game. And he really was focused when doing it. It's probably counting his steps, to be honest with you, measuring the pitch. Absolutely extraordinary from Sean Dyche. Meticulous, but so far not so good in terms of the results and goals for Everton so far this season. The rest of the games are kicking off at 7:45. We'll be round the grounds very shortly. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes. 18+, begambleaware.org. Just watching Doncaster as they make their way in towards the tunnel. They seem to be enjoying the warm-up, knocking balls about, doing a little bit of shape. The four-man defence, we'll see if it turns into a 3 after 8 o'clock, and we'll see if there's any shocks. Last night, Spurs going out to Fulham wasn't necessarily a shock. It was a big story as far as Spurs were concerned, but Sheffield Wednesday of the Championship went out to League 2 Mansfield, and Leeds of the Championship last season in the Premier League went out to League 2 Salford as well. Will there be more this evening? You'll find out on Kickoff on Talksport. Right, we've got football going on. We'll go round the grounds very shortly on Talksport, but let's catch up with what's been happening in the first T20. I think it's been a wicket already in the England innings, Sam Ellard.
Yep, a wicket already. Johnny Bairstow's gone. It's Tim Southey, the bowler. England 6 for 1 after 4 balls. So the perfect start for New Zealand. England's target for victory is 140, which really is very, very chaseable, and you expect England to chase it more often than not. So one thing New Zealand need are wickets, and plenty of wickets in the power play. Johnny Bairstow, the first one to go for 4 runs from just 2 balls. Southgate gets this ball just enough to nip back in, holds its line as well, and a big thick outside edge is nicked to slip. So a really, really good start for New Zealand, and Tim Southey, as he always does, gets the new ball to talk, nips back in, edge to slip. Bairstow gone. Will Jacks is yet to face a ball, and coming in at number 3 is Darren Milan. He's 1 from 3 balls. So England's target for victory is 140. A tough start though, Adrian. 5 balls gone, 7 for 1.
We'll keep you in touch with that throughout the course of the evening here on Kickoff on Talksport. When we're done, it's the Sports Bar. The Sports Bar will happen when the games are done tonight. So, for example, if there's a shootout here at Doncaster, could take a little while. So they will be here taking your calls, your reaction to tonight's games on the Sports Bar. It is Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy. They had some outstanding callers last night, mainly Spurs fans, but it was a brilliant listen as I was heading home from Luton last night. The draw for the third round of the Carabao Cup will be on Sports Bar on Talksport as well. That will be made when the game here between Doncaster and Everton is completed. So that'll be on the Sports Bar. Your calls as well on the Sports Bar. For now, though, let's take you around the grounds, bring you all the goals. Let's go to the Carabao Cup second round tie at Stamford Bridge. Early stages there with Talksport's Alex Crook.
6 minutes gone. It's Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 0 in front of a bumper crowd here at Stamford Bridge. Really impressive turnout, including a significant travelling party from Wimbledon away to my left. No surprise, Chelsea dominating the possession. No clear-cut chances as of yet. Levi Colwill did put a teasing ball into the penalty area. Diego Moreira, the 19-year-old Portuguese youth international, making his Chelsea debut. He made a mess of the shot, fired it well wide, so neither goalkeeper has yet had a save to make. 7 gone, Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 0.
You're listening to Kick Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Let's take you to the City Ground on Talksport. Jeff Peters.
It's Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0. Much change sides here tonight. 7 alterations for Forest and 10 for Burnley. One opportunity in the early stages. It fell to Czech Coyote coming into the Forest side tonight. He was at a bit of a tight angle down the right hand side, and he flashed it wide of the goal. Burnley have got themselves a free kick midway inside the Forest half. It's a pretty good turnout here at the City Ground to see if Forest can do what they did last season, have a good run in this competition. They got to the semi-finals. Early stages though, it's Forest 0, Burnley 0.
Yeah, 4-time winners, but those 4 League Cup wins were between 1978 and 1990, all 4 of them, and all of course under the great Brian Clough. Let's go to Bramall Lane. Early stages there with Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, we've had 7 minutes. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0. No goal-mouth action just yet. It's a lovely bit of skill though from Danny Mandrew, a guy who you guys are speaking about in the Lincoln City lineup as one of the leading lights of this Lincoln City side. Lovely nutmeg on Andre Brooks, the youngster coming into their side today for Sheffield United, making his first start. But what have you made of the way the two sides are shaping up at the moment, Dean?
I mean, they're matching each other up pretty much in terms of the formation. I've just been watching Cameron Archer. Honestly, every single time one of the midfield players gets it, he's just looking to spin in behind with that pace that he's got. But you're right, Mandrew's looked so composed already on the ball. Him and Hackett, especially just in behind house, have had plenty of the ball, and they've started really confidently, actually, Lincoln City.
Basham wins it back here for Sheffield United as they look to attack. At the moment they're attacking the Lincoln City fans to our left hand side, but so far nothing for Lucas Jensen in the Lincoln City goal to do. We've had 8 minutes. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0.
So let's take you to the Envirovent Stadium. Harrogate taking on Blackburn tonight in the League Cup. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 9 minutes gone here, Adrian. It is Harrogate 0, Blackburn 0, but it's Blackburn who've been in the ascendancy early on, and they're attacking now as we speak. They whip the ball in from the right hand side. It's headed away over on the far side. It has been all Blackburn. John Buckley played in a nice ball for Sam Gallagher, but the keeper, to be fair, Mark Oxley, raced off his line to prevent the danger, and it was Gallagher again played in, this time down the right hand side of the penalty area, just forced a little bit wide. He tried to find Markanday, but eventually the effort was blocked. At the other end, we've just seen one break down the right hand side. It was Kane Ramsey. His cross was deflected behind for a corner. It was a poor delivery, to be truthful, and the effort ballooned over the bar. Quite open, Harrogate here, and you feel that Blackburn are enjoying it. They're flooding bodies forward in the midfield. They're on the edge of the area again here. There could be a chance for a shot on goal, and there is the first goal of this cup tie, and it is tucked in the bottom corner. It's Jake Garrett who has got it. Harrogate at 6s and 7s. Blackburn flooding bodies forward. It's a neat finish from wide on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Jake Garrett has put it past Oxley. It's Harrogate 0, Blackburn 1.
Well, Garrett was one of the 4 goal scorers in the first round in a brilliant game when they beat Walsall 4-3 Blackburn Rovers. That's his only start of the season. He started tonight. He scored again. Let's just say he's staking a claim. I will point out that Harrogate do come into this off the back of a win to end 3 straight defeats at the weekend. They beat Morecambe by 2-0. It included a brilliant George Thompson free kick. He is capable of that. He said it's his first free kick goal for 7 years. So he is capable of it, but very rarely, it seems. Back-to-back ones might be a bit too much to expect. But Luke Armstrong, their main goal scorer, is on the bench tonight. He's got 30 goals, all competitions last 2 seasons for Harrogate. So he's a weapon they could bring on, and they do need to bring him on at some stage if it stays like this, because you just heard live on Talksport, Blackburn have taken the lead at the environment. Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. If Luke Armstrong does come on and score for Harrogate tonight, it'll be his first ever League Cup goal in his career. Remarkable, given his record of goal scoring in the lower leagues. We are round the grounds with all the goals as they go in on Talksport. 4 minutes to kick off here at the Eco Power Stadium. Doncaster about to take on Everton. Tension is building, atmosphere building as well. Same in Eindhoven for PSV against Rangers. Win tonight, and Rangers and Mick Beale will be in the Champions League group stages. This is Talksport. Well, teams are out here at Doncaster, yet to kick off. That's coming very shortly, but there's another goal back at the environment. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, it is Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 2. We mentioned that Sam Gallagher had a couple of sights on the penalty area early on in this game. Well, it was a lovely ball over the top. He got in behind the defenders, and he slotted beautifully past Mark Oxley to tuck it in at the far post. That's just been a chance up the other end, actually, for Harrogate to nick one back. There's a little bit of indecision at the back, but the keeper eventually, Walstat, came out and saved well at the feet of the Harrogate attacker. We've had 14 gone here. Nightmare start for the home side. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 2.
Well, that's a ton of work for Simon Weaver and Harrogate to do, and you wouldn't fancy them to complete that job. Let's see. Plenty of time, though. And Blackburn, I mean, they can be full of quality. I was there at the last game at the end of last season when they went to Millwall, 3-1 down at half-time. Second half performance was possibly the best 45 minutes of football I saw all season as they came back to win 4-3 with very little to play for. They couldn't make a playoff place at that stage, and the goal they scored to win at Watford on Talksport 2 on Sunday was magnificent. Ryan Hedges scooped it over the defender, did some keepy-uppies before lashing home at the near post. Capable of quality, Blackburn, and they're 2 up at Harrogate tonight. That's North Yorkshire. This is South Yorkshire. Doncaster about to kick off against Everton. Ball is on the centre circle and centre spot, and it will be Donahue get us underway as the side bottom of League 2 face the side bottom of the Premier League in the Carabao Cup second round. You may think this should be comfortable, straightforward for Everton, but that's what Hull were thinking in the first round when Doncaster went there and came from behind to beat them by 2-1. We are underway, and Lucy Ward and Jim Proudfoot will keep you in touch with the action here at the Eco Power Stadium and with the shape of that Doncaster Rovers defence as the game goes on. But still plenty of noise around the stadium. Plenty of Everton fans have travelled here as well for the game, and they will be at the game at the weekend as well. And what a huge game for the Toffees it is, and a huge game on Talksport as well. Bramall Lane the venue, Sheffield United taking on Everton. Oh my goodness, and Jordan Pickford almost messed it up in the very first minute. Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, but he was done no favours at all by Michael Keane, who's been recalled tonight, and it was a brisk back pass on his wrong foot. Pickford wanting a touch, wanting a second, just got it away in time, with Doncaster Rovers players coming. He was then out of his goal, but none of the Rovers players were in a position that they could get a shot in. They have conceded a corner, the first of the game, which will be taken by Lee Molyneux on the Doncaster Rovers right. So early nerves here, prevalent as far as Everton are concerned. The corner's been worked short. Tommy Rowe bends it in, and a better header would have caused real problems for Pickford. She's bent inside the 6-yard box, and it's come off the top of Aluwu's head, and he steered it up in the air rather than to goal, Lucy.
You know what? They should have scored, Doncaster then. It was a great ball in from Rowe on the right-hand side, and just swung it in with his left foot. And Aluwu, he's a centre-back, and that looked like an attempt on goal for a centre-back.
Well, I wonder whether Doncaster will be ruining that in 20 minutes or a couple of hours' time. Mikalenko in possession here for Everton. Doncaster really in the faces, playing with an intensity in the early stages, but Everton able to work it forward towards Chimiti, and they're on the front foot now after surviving that opening nervy 90 seconds. Still 0-0.
It was Lucy more of a defensive clearance than a header on goal. For a split second there I thought, hang on a minute, why is he heading it away?
And also he was free. I think there was 2 Donny players, including Aluwu, who were free coming in from that free kick. And just Everton, when you come to a ground like this and you're playing League 2 opposition in the Cup, they're going to start fast, the crowd are going to be loud, you've got to make sure that you're really thorough right from the start. You have to win the battle first, and Everton have responded quite well since then.
Got to say, you're right about the crowd. The Doncaster fans have been non-stop building up to kick-off and during the game. That's the fans you can hear away to our right in the stadium now. Doncaster fans thoroughly getting behind their team, and they've made a great start. Bit of nervousness at the back, Michael Keane and Jordan Pickford. I think this is with the Euros round the corner next summer. Nobody expects Jordan Pickford to lose his place under Gareth Southgate, but he might be forced into making a decision at least.
Listen, he doesn't get much help, Adrian. I think he does well, Pickford, to say that he doesn't get that much protection. They've made defensive mistakes, they're giving up a lot of chances, which means he's always busy, Pickford.
And he's got to keep the ball out of his net. Let's go to Chelsea. Alex Crook.
What a story we could have here, Adrian. 19 minutes gone. Chelsea 0, League 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. James Tilley has just fired the visitors in front from the penalty spot. It's a really clumsy moment from Robert Sanchez, the Chelsea goalkeeper. A corner was swung in from the left-hand side. Sanchez came to try and punch the ball away. He only succeeded in punching Harry Pell clean in the face. No hesitation from the referee to point to the spot. James Tilley, up he steps, rams his kick straight down the centre of the goal. Delirium amongst the Wimbledon fans away to my left. Who saw this coming? It's live on Talksport 2, remember. It is Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Wow, what a story that will be. What a story it is already. The original Wimbledon played Chelsea once in the League Cup. Dons won 2-1. It was a quarter-final. Robbie Earle and Michael Hughes blast from the past with the goals at Selhurst Park that night. Dons went on to lose to Spurs in the semi-final. This, the Phoenix from the Flames, AFC Wimbledon, after the franchise was moved to Milton Keynes, would you believe? Yes, it really did happen, and yes, the football authorities said that's allowed. Well, AFC Wimbledon have risen up, been in League 1 briefly, back into League 2, but tonight they lead at Chelsea in a derby, just 4 or 5 miles between the two clubs, and that game is live on Talksport 2. You can download the Talksport app for free, swipe between Talksport and Talksport 2, or just tell your smart speaker to play Talksport 2. Let's go around the other grounds. Remember, Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 1, a huge story. Let's go to the City Ground on Talksport. Jeff Peters.
It's Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0. Neither side has had a shot on target in the opening stages of this one. 20 minutes gone. Forest have just had a free kick, dangerous position, left-hand side, level with the edge of the angle of the penalty area, maybe about sort of 10 yards out. It was swung in. Forest got lots of bodies forward, but it was defended really well by Burnley. Forest got the ball in again, but it was just too strong. The final ball at both ends has been disappointing thus far. Both teams trying to play the ball out from the back, certainly what you would expect from a Vincent Kompany side. Steve Cooper with Matt Turner in goal. He's trying to get the defenders involved, trying to get them to move in a slightly different way to get up the pitch. but in terms of the attacking threat from both sides, that bit of quality hasn't been there in the opening exchanges. It's Forest 0, Burnley 0.
Let's go to Bramall Lane on Talksport with Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
Both played 20 minutes. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0. And in terms of goalmouth action, it's pretty much as you were the last time you were with us. The only effort really towards goal we've seen has come from inside the Sheffield United half from Ollie Norwood, inside the centre circle, tried to lob Lucas Jensen from 55-60 yards. Keeper saw it all the way over his own crossbar and out for a goal kick. Dean Ashton, that kind of speaks to a little bit of the frustrations that Sheffield United have got so far. They haven't really got McBurney or Archer into the game, struggling going forward, but Lincoln City looking pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Norwood probably saw that the ground staff were about to take the goals away because there was literally no point. Honestly, they've just been so nice, Sheffield United. They've passed it around at the back, they feed it into Norwood, he gives it back. And I've just been watching McBurney and Archer, and they're stood up there thinking, well, what are we meant to do to get ourselves into the game? It's okay passing it around, but there's got to be a certain purpose and a certain energy to Sheffield United's performance. I mean, it does feel a bit like a pre-season. There isn't much atmosphere inside Bramall Lane this evening, and actually I think it means that Lincoln are gaining in confidence.
Well, they certainly have been in the last few minutes. They've got an opportunity for a long throw to send into the box in just a few moments from Burrows as it comes in, and Bernie is going to claim that. In fact, he didn't even reach him as there was no white shirt in place trying to attack it, though. A strike coming in, and Rico Hackett with the first effort on target of the evening, easily claimed from Adam Davis from a good 20 yards. 22 minutes gone. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0.
Well, the last time these two met in the League Cup over 20 years ago, Blades won 6-1. Hat-trick from Marcus Bent, hat-trick of assists from Paul Devlin for Neil Warnock's side that night. But Sheffield United, sounds like they've started nervy. Lincoln with the only effort on target, Rico Hackett, the former Pompey man, with the strike. Let's go to the Invar event where it's been a tough start for the home side. Harrogate, Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 23 gone here still. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 2. Harrogate just got a corner as we speak. Let's see if anything comes of this. No, it doesn't. They play out wide on the right hand side. They've got plenty of yellow shirts forward. That's a good looking ball into the box. Keeper comes out with a flying punch. We mentioned the goals. Jake Garrett with a neat finish on 10 minutes. Then Sam Gallagher played in by a lovely ball over the top from Buckley. He finished beautifully from close range. He's not hard to miss, is he, Sam Gallagher? He's 6'4", but it seems like no one wants to defend against him at the moment. At the other end, Muldoon could be in behind, but the offside flag has gone up there. Late flag as well. Muldoon was denied by a great save from Walstead. Just the last time you were with us, there was a bit of hesitation. Muldoon in on goal. Walstead quickly off his line, smothered the danger. Then at the other end, another big chance for Blackburn. Burrell trying to dribble the ball out of his own penalty area. He got caught in possession. Buckley rolled it into the feet of Markandate. He's 12 yards out, tried to get it on his left foot. Shot got deflected behind. Well, it was John Dahl Thomason's birthday yesterday. I think Harrogate have decided to make a present of a place in the third round as it stands in the League Cup, because 24 gone here. It's Harrogate 0, Blackburn 2.
And here at the Eco Power Stadium, Doncaster taking on Everton in what was an 8 o'clock kick-off, and to bring you the latest in these early stages, former lead striker Lucy Ward alongside Jim Proudfoot.
And 9 minutes gone, and it remains Doncaster 0, Everton 0. It's been a nervy start for Everton. They've had one corner and precious little else of any consequence at all. They are playing 4-2-4 by and large. Garner's in central midfield, Dobbins out on the right, Danjuma on the left, and Decore doing what he can to get forward in support of Chimiti, and that's just allowed Doncaster the opportunity to get a bit of a foothold in the midfield. Decore dropping a little bit deeper in the last couple of minutes. They've been getting it forward early. There is a confidence about them that belies their berth of 92nd of 92 in the league. Lucy, they've been the better team so far.
Yeah, Grant McCann before the game, he promised that they'd be playing front foot, and they've certainly started like that. I think that Everton were a little bit slow out of the blocks, and I'm sure that Sean Dyche before the game said these are going to come at you fast, you've got to be ready for it, you've got to win your individual battles. And I think you're right, 4-2-4 when they've got it. I think Decore and Danjuma and Dobbin will tuck in like a 4-5-1 when they haven't got it. But Doncaster have just been a little bit more front foot, but not had that quality. One thing I have noticed is that, you know, on set pieces Everton look big. Donny do not look big at all on set pieces. That might be something.
At either end, potentially as well, Lawler just put under a little bit of pressure for the first time by Chimiti, and Everton can now bring it forward with Lewis Dobbin, although he's worked it back for Patterson. We've only seen one half-decent chance so far. It was a great ball in from Tommy Rowe for Doncaster inside the opening couple of minutes. Lou were missing a glorious chance. I don't know whether he thought he was offside, got his bearings all wrong, the ball coming off the top of his head, rather than being able to power it past Jordan Pickford as he might have anticipated. We're 11 minutes in. It's Doncaster 0, Everton 0.
And let's catch up with the early stages of the Champions League qualifying playoff for Rangers in Holland. David Tanner.
It's PSV Eindhoven 0, Rangers 0, 12 minutes gone in the Netherlands, and we've just had the best chance of the game. Joey Veerman, the PSV midfielder, let fly from 20 yards and it was punched away by Jack Butland. I can tell you, Nico Raskin's lucky not to have been booked for an early trip. And if Rangers can get the ball to Robbie Matondo, who's in the starting lineup tonight, they might do well. His pace is already causing the Dutch difficulties on the Rangers left. At the moment it's 2-2 in aggregate on the night. PSV 0, Rangers 0.
And let's find out what's happening in the England reply in the first T20 at Chesterley Street. Sam Allard.
England going along very nicely in their pursuit of 140 for victory into the 6th over. 52 for 1 seems a long time ago now, Adrian, that Johnny Bairstow was dismissed. Second ball of the innings, edging Tim Southey to slip for just 4 runs. It did take Darren Milan and Will Jacks a while to get going. In particular, Milan occupied a lot of balls without scoring, but he's now unbeaten on 22. Will Jacks also 22 not out. That's though just from 11 balls. He once again really does look the real deal. We have some player for the future in Will Jacks. A big couple of weeks though for Darren Milan. He is included in the 50 over squad against New Zealand, which is set to go to the World Cup. Harry Brook, who's playing in these T20s, isn't included in that 50 over squad at the moment. A lot of people think Harry Brook should do. If he scores runs in this series and Milan doesn't, England have got time to change that squad for the World Cup, which has to be named in a couple of weeks' time. But so far so good for Darren Milan. He's 22 from 21. Will Jacks is 22 from 11 balls. England into the 6th over, 54 for 1, chasing 140 for victory.
Cricket update on Talksport with Thatcher's Gold Cider. Perfection in every drop. Please drink responsibly.
So the latest scores: Carabao Cup second round tonight on Talksport. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 2. Jake Garrett, Sam Gallagher with the early goals for John Dale Thomason's side away to League 2 Harrogate. Forest 0, Burnley 0, Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0. Here at Doncaster it's goalless between Donny and Everton, and it's Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 1 live on Talksport 2 right now. Yeah, you heard that right. Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 1. James Tilley with the penalty for Wimbledon. His dad was a chemistry teacher. Well, his Bunsen burner's on fire tonight. Wimbledon lead by a goal to 0 away to Premier League Chelsea, the side in League 2. Unbeaten so far, Johnny Jackson's side. He was on the breakfast show this morning. Well, they are leading at Stamford Bridge. And in the Champions League qualifying playoff second leg, 2-2 from the first leg. It's goalless in Eindhoven. PSV 0, Rangers 0. You're listening to Talksport. What a big night of Cup football on Talksport, and indeed on the Talksport network as well. You're listening to Kickoff on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Let's go to where the story is. That's at Stamford Bridge. Talksport's Alex Crook.
12 minutes to go until half time. It's still Chelsea 0, League 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. The only goal, a 19th minute penalty for AFC Wimbledon, converted by James Tilley for his 5th goal in his last 6 games. And Chelsea, well, what have they mustered by way of a reply? Not much is the honest answer. Ian Matson's effort deflected behind for a corner, as close as they've come to an equaliser. In fact, we've reached the 33rd minute and Mauricio Pochettino's side haven't had a single shot on target against their lowly opponents. Pochettino, arms folded, stood on the edge of his technical area. He saw his old club Tottenham crash out last night, but at least that was to a Premier League rival. This would all be rather embarrassing. Long way to go, but at the moment Wimbledon holding their nerve there, leading by a goal to 0, and this game is live over on Talksport 2. Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Another goal at Harrogate. Which way this time? Mark Wilson.
It's gone to the visitors. Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 3. More neat play on the edge of the penalty area of Harrogate. The ball played wide to Moran, made a nice run in on goal, went round the keeper, but the angle was too tight, got it to the byline. pulled it back, and there was John Buckley, first to react, 10 yards out, hammered the ball past Ox, who had no chance. Blackburn strolling into the third round as it stands here. They're a cut above Harrogate at the moment. It's Harrogate 0, Blackburn 3.
Well, John Buckley, another one of those whose only start was in the last round against Walsall. He scored in that game. He started again tonight. He scored again tonight, same as Jake Garrett, who got the first for Blackburn this evening. I'm going to put my neck on the block. I think Blackburn are going through. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 3. Let's go to the City Ground on Talksport with Jeff Peters.
It's still Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0, and we're still to have the first shot on target in this game. But Burnley have been forced into a change. Vitinho going down, having some treatment. He's walked off the pitch. He doesn't look in major trouble. It doesn't look like anything major of major concern for Vincent Kompany. He's just talking to his manager at the moment. I think it might have been just how he landed. He will be. Is he going to go back to the dressing room, or is he going to sit amongst the other players? I think he's actually probably going to go to the dressing room. So Amin Al-Dakil has come on to replace him. This hasn't been a great game, in all honesty, so far between these two Premier League sides who have both made a raft of changes. 7 for Forest, 10 for Burnley, and perhaps because of that the game hasn't particularly caught fire. It's Forest 0, Burnley 0.
So we'll take you to Bramall Lane on Talksport with Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
Well, it's not exactly much better. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0. 35 minutes gone in this one. Sheffield United playing like a side with 9 changes in it. Lincoln City have looked fairly comfortable with what the Blades have tried to throw at them, and there's been the odd chance on the break as well. The only chance since you were last with us, a LaRouche cross to McBurney, had a touch and then his effort was blocked. There's not been much else in terms of goal mouth action as Lincoln City holding firm. Sheffield United trying to find a bit of cutting edge, and if it's going to come from somewhere, where is it going to come from, Dean Ashton?
Probably LaRouche. He's probably been the best player actually for Sheffield United. He came on for Osborne against Manchester City at the weekend into a big game and did well against Bernardo Silva and Kyle Walker, and he's the one, probably him and Norwood, I would say the only two Sheffield United players up to the level that's required to even test Lincoln at the moment. Everyone else has not reached those levels as yet, and actually they're just making it very, very comfortable. The quality's been extremely poor from a Sheffield United point of view. As for Lincoln, they'll be happy with what they're seeing.
Absolutely. Mark Kennedy, arms folded in his technical area at the moment, but as he paces around in front of 3,000 travelling Lincoln City supporters, they can be very content with the opening 36 minutes. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0.
And here at the Eco Power Stadium we are still waiting for goals. Lucy Ward and Jim Proudfoot.
Well, still waiting for goals with 22 minutes gone at 0-0. Still waiting for a first Everton attempt of any form. Just haven't had a single shot on Ian Lawler's goal so far. And the goal drought currently 325 minutes since the Corey last netted for the Blues the back end of last season. Doncaster certainly giving a good account of themselves, and they forced another corner here. There's been space for Molineux on the Doncaster right. We've seen that a lot. Mikalenko's defending quite narrow at left back for Everton. One Molineux cross fell Fowles' way, but he mistimed his header. Aluwu's second minute header still far and away the best chance that we've seen so far. But what will Doncaster be able to do from this corner? Westbrook and Molineux, the two players standing over it on the Doncaster right-hand side. And it is going to be Zane Westbrook to take this. Everybody back inside the penalty area for Everton. He's played across the edge of the box, and running onto it, it's just fired over by Tommy Rowe. Everton with 11 back loose inside the penalty area, but nobody had picked up Rowe. Just walked towards the edge of the area and hit a rising drive over the bar by about 1.5 feet.
Yeah, it wasn't far away, Rowe. Just needed to keep it down. But you know, the chances, if they are coming in this game, are coming for Doncaster. I think Everton got a foothold in it after a fast start, but not really creating anything, and they're a little bit loose in possession. When the centre-backs get it, there's a massive gap in midfield because everybody's pushing forward now. As soon as that happens, you've got players beyond, it just becomes predictable. Donny know what to expect. They know that the longer ball is going to come. They're a little bit lopsided, like we said. I think that they like to get Maxwell forwards and then the rest make a three at the back, but because Everton play in such a narrow shape, the space wide, having said that, for Everton they can exploit the space behind Maxwell, and that's what Dobbin needs to do.
We saw 25 minutes of Youssef Chermiti at the weekend. We've seen nearly 25 minutes of him tonight, albeit that he's really struggled for any service. What have you made of him, or is it just completely unfair to judge him on the strength of what we've seen so far?
Yeah, probably. I think I saw him for Sporting last season, and it's a difficult environment to come into because everybody's looking and thinking, well, you should be scoring goals because you're playing up there. But, Everton are not scoring goals for a reason. They haven't had that quality. He's working hard. He just needs to get bodies around him.
Well, when you consider there are 72 places between these two teams in the league structure, and Everton have gone relatively strong tonight, only 4 changes, you would never know, looking at it, which of these sides was in the Premier League and which was in League Two. That's to Doncaster's credit. Everton just can't get going. 24 gone. Donny 0, Everton 0.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Donny have been the better side, but so far nothing to show for it. 0-0 Doncaster Everton in an 8 o'clock kick-off. Also 8 o'clock in the Champions League in Eindhoven. What's been happening, David Tanner?
PSV 0, Rangers 0 with 25 on the clock, and it's a player who's been linked with Liverpool, Spurs and Newcastle, Johan Bakayoko, who's just set up a terrific chance for his captain Luke de Jong. It was a cross from the right by Bakayoko, and de Jong headed past from the back post. The best chance of the game, the 2 best chances of the game, falling to the PSV captain. But it's still PSV 0, Rangers 0.
Well, let's give you the latest scores then in the Carabao Cup second round. It's been a blistering first half from Blackburn Rovers. They lead 3-0 at Harrogate. Garrett Gallagher and Buckley with the goals. Goalless Forest and Burnley. Goalless Sheffield United and Lincoln. Here at Doncaster, it's goalless between Donny and Everton. And Chelsea 0, Wimbledon 1, which is live over on Talksport 2 right now. And in the Champions League, still goalless between PSV and Rangers. 2-2 from the first leg. And the winner goes into the Champions League group stage. That Champions League draw tomorrow, and it'll be during Drive on Talksport. They've got a special show. Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent from 4. Kev Hatchard, European expert, will be with them, and so too will the former Newcastle manager Alan Pardew. He did well with Newcastle in Europe, and Newcastle are back in the Champions League this season. They'll find out who their opponents will be in the group stage tomorrow. You'll hear that live on Talksport. Well, Friday night, live and exclusive on Talksport, the first ever Premier League game at the new look Kenilworth Road. We were there last night for the Carabao Cup victory over Gillingham. What a game that was. And the Bobbers stands definitely looking completely different to what it's looked like for the last 50 odd years. Luton West Ham, live and exclusive on Talksport in the Premier League on Friday night. Hugh Wisencroft, your host for that. Nigel Adderley and Stuart Pearce on commentary duty. Same time on Talksport 2, I'll be hosting a transfer deadline show, and we will take you right the way through to the window closing and all the deals that are done on the night as well. Jim White will be involved, so too our transfer god Alex Crook. There is a transfer blog on the website talksport.com with the latest on all potential deals, including Cole Palmer from Manchester City to Chelsea possibly, and Manchester United in for Sofian Amrabat on loan, the Fiorentina midfielder. Well, I tell you what, Doncaster Rovers really giving it a big one here at the Eco Power Stadium, and they could take the lead. A long shot just goes wide, Jim Proudfoot.
Yeah, it was a good effort. Drag wide of Jordan Pickford's right hand post from distance about 25 yards out. We're half an hour in, it's 0-0.
Let's go to Stamford Bridge. Is that another penalty, Alex Crook?
It is indeed. Penalty for Chelsea right on half time. Chelsea 0, AFC Wimbledon 1 the score. Noni Madueke. It was a dazzling run into the penalty area, scythe down on the byline, and Madueke stepping up himself to try and get Chelsea back on level terms. A staggered run up, and he picks out the bottom right hand corner. Relief for Maurizio Pochettino and for Chelsea. Cool as you like from Madueke in front of those thousands of AFC Wimbledon fans in the shed end away to my left. 10 seconds before the end of regulation time in this first half. Madueke matching what James Tilley did from the penalty spot at the other end to give AFC Wimbledon their 19th minute lead. Chelsea have been so poor, Adrian, in this first half. I know they've made changes from their Premier League team of the weekend, but still bags of talent here. European Championship under-21 winners, £60 million players in Mark Cucurella, £50 million rated players in the captain Conor Gallagher. They've been second best for much of the first half, but it looks like they will go in on level terms. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Well, there could be relief for Pochettino, but they are still only 1-1 at home to a side in League 2. That's live on Talksport 2 right now. We've got another goal at the Enviro event. Hashtag pray for Harrogate. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, pray for them indeed, Adrian, because they're now 4-0 down here. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 4. Dylan Markandale with the latest goal, shot from the edge of the area. May have taken a deflection that took it past the helpless keeper. He was unlucky just a couple of minutes earlier, actually. Markandale played in beautifully by Gallagher. Really unselfish from Gallagher. Markandale's shot was blocked, fell back to Gallagher. He ballooned it over the top, but it's job done here. Blackburn really, really impressive. Harrogate not at the races. This could really blow out in the second half. Just in injury time into the first half. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 4.
Wow, that could get very, very embarrassing in the second half. Half time at Bramall Lane. Now this could be interesting because I believe it's goalless there. Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
It is. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0. 31 places between these two sides in the footballing pyramid, but very little to choose between them in that opening 45 minutes. Barren of chances, really. Summed up perhaps by Ollie Norwood trying to lob the goalkeeper on 17 minutes from inside his own half. It didn't pay off, unsurprisingly. LaRouche with a cross to McBurney. He had a touch, his shot was blocked, and that, as far as Sheffield United have gone going forward, has been pretty much it. At the other end, Lincoln City through Hackett, 20 yards out from the D, saved by Davis comfortably as well. But Mark Kennedy's side will be very, very pleased with that opening 45 minutes because they've shut Sheffield United out, Dean Ashton, and I wonder whether Mark Kennedy is thinking of saying to his players, this is here for you if you want it.
I'm pretty sure he will do, yeah. I mean, I think he'll be shocked at the Sheffield United performance and definitely the intensity, because when you play a team that's 3 or 4 divisions below, then you have to make sure that the intensity is too much for them and then your quality shines through. Sheffield United haven't done that at all, but I can really see how this Lincoln side have kept the clean sheet so far this season. They're so well structured with that back three and the 2 midfielders just sitting in front. Mandrew and Hackett will come and defend as well, and quite narrow, so they give you the full back areas, but they've been really good when that ball's gone into the 2 forward players. Archer and McBurney have barely had a touch to even combine, and that's down to Lincoln City's defence.
And in terms of Sheffield United, when you've had a performance in the first half that is so flat, how straightforward is it to get that urgency and intensity into a second half performance, and how many changes might be needed to make that happen from Paul Heckingbottom?
It'll either take something said from Heckingbottom or Stuart McCall. I'm sure I'll have a word to say. They look very sort of disgruntled towards the end of the half. I mean, some of the players, they almost look like it's an inconvenience tonight, you know, to come and play and it's Lincoln and there's not many people in the stadium, you know, there isn't that atmosphere. It's so easy to get into that mindset. It's a terrible mindset to be in as well. But actually, for some of these players, it's a great opportunity to actually show that you need to be in the side and show the manager that you should be picked for the Premier League. And they haven't been in that mindset at all. I've been really disappointed so far with Sheffield United.
Goalless at the break, and a lot could happen in the second half for Lincoln City if they can take it up a notch further, because Sheffield United here to be beaten. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0.
The deadlock has been broken in the Champions League in Eindhoven. David Tanner.
And for the first time in this tie, the Dutch are ahead. It's PSV 1, Rangers 0. It was a cross from the left and a header from Ismail Sabari, who scored the Dutch side's first goal at Ibrox last week. On aggregate, it's 3-2. On the night, it's PSV 1, Rangers 0.
Wow, Rangers then with work to do, but they've been in that situation before many times in their brilliant Europa League run a couple of seasons ago. Let's get half-time at the City Ground. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0. Lots of changes on both sides. A number of players making debuts and others also getting their first minutes of the season, and it does show really as the quality between these Premier League clubs has been somewhat lacking. Chances at a premium. Forest have had 3 shots, none on target. 2 of the better ones fell to Czech Koyate. He sliced one wide from an angle early on and blazed another high over from the edge of the box after some good work from Chris Wood. A couple of efforts for Burnley. calling them decent would be a stretch. They've lost Vitinho to injury. Didn't look overly serious as he left the pitch, but Vincent Kompany not taking any chances and brought on Al Dakil to replace him. Half-time at the City Ground. It's Forest 0, Burnley 0.
And hoping for goals in the second half there. We've had goals in the first half at Stamford Bridge. Whistle's gone for Talksport's Alex Crook.
Proper cup tie this, Adrian. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. More than 60 places between Mauricio Pochettino's Premier League aristocrats and League 2 Wimbledon in the pyramid, but that hasn't been on evidence so far this evening. In fact, Chelsea probably fortunate to go in at half-time on level terms. They fell behind in the 19th minute. Robert Sanchez, the goalkeeper, came out to punch clear a corner, only succeeded in punching midfielder Harry Pell full in the face. Up stepped James Tilley from the penalty spot, rammed his kick straight down the centre of Sanchez's goal for his 5th of the season. Chelsea barely created a meaningful opportunity after that. Ian Matson saw a shot deflected wide. Conor Gallagher blazed a free kick high into the shed end, and Noni Madueke fired well wide from long range as well. It was Madueke who got Chelsea level right on half-time. He was sent tumbling in the penalty area after a clumsy challenge by Alex Pearce. Madueke immediately grabbed the ball and put his kick into the bottom right-hand corner for only his 2nd Chelsea goal. Bumper crowd inside Stamford Bridge tonight. Big travelling following have made the short trip from AFC Wimbledon. Mark Cucurella was booed by the Chelsea fans before kick-off. They're making it pretty clear they want him to leave the football club. And no irony at all, Adrian, after the equaliser, chants from the home sections of "You're not singing anymore." They should be ashamed of themselves. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
That's fantastic. I wonder if the booing isn't just because Cucurella hasn't really, let's be kind, hasn't really settled at Chelsea. He has been linked with Manchester United. Even Mason Mount, after moving to Manchester United, has had a pretty horrific song made up for him by the Chelsea fans. It literally can't be repeated on a family show like this one. Half-time at the Envirovent Stadium. This has been one-sided. Mark Wilson.
It has indeed. Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 4. An absolute masterclass from Rovers, who made 10 changes from their win at the weekend, but right from the off they were on the front foot. Sam Gallagher testing out the defence in the opening couple of minutes, and the goal wasn't too long in coming. 10 minutes in, neat passage of play on the edge of the Harrogate box. Ball found its way to Jake Garrett. He picked out the bottom corner, firing across Oxley. Neat finish from him. And then the second, just 2 minutes after that, lovely ball from John Buckley, who's been outstanding tonight. Played it over the top. Gallagher raced onto it and finished neatly past the advancing Oxley. That was 2-0. But then a chance at the other end for Harrogate. A little bit of a miscommunication at the back. Muldoon was in one-on-one with the debutant Wellstead, but Wellstead saved really well with his legs, and Harrogate were made to pay. John Buckley on the end of another lovely move. Gallagher played in the Brighton loanee Moran. He went round the keeper, decided the angle was too tight, got to the byline, pulled it back. There was John Buckley first to react, fired in from 10 yards out to make it 3-0. And then another chance at the other end. Again it fell to Muldoon. Great work from Abraham Ado. He drove forward, fed in a lovely ball to Muldoon, took it in his stride, took it first time, rolled it past the keeper, but sadly for him, inches past the far post. And then right on half-time, well, really the goal that does finish this one. Dylan Markanday with a neat finish from the edge of the area. There have been plenty of chances for Blackburn Rovers. As I said, Buckley and Gallagher have been absolutely dominant. And just to show that they're not here just to play the fancy football, there's a crunching tackle from Jake Garrett. He poleaxed Levi Sutton, got a yellow card for his trouble. So they are willing to put their foot in as well, Blackburn. I think there's more goals in this as well. The home team were booed off their wait for a third-round League Cup appearance. Looks like it's going to go on another year. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 4.
It's a teeny bit harsh, Harrogate being booed off. Blackburn are actually pretty good in 2 divisions above Harrogate, who not so long back were in National League North. Let's get the latest on the first T20 in Durham. Sam Allard.
All too easy for England, Adrian. Their target from 20 overs is 140, and into the 12th over they're 114 for 2s. They need just 26 runs to win from 50 balls, and we'll get there, I'm sure, very shortly. Seems a long time ago now that Bairstow had Southey to slip for 4, and then Will Jacks picked out deep mid-wicket off the bowling of Ish Sodhi for 22. Fair play Darren Milan. A lot of people think that he should not be in England squad for the 50 over World Cup, and it should be Harry Brook instead, but after a slow start he's playing very nicely. He's reached his 50, now 53 from 40 balls, and is playing very nicely. Ironically, the man at the other end is the man that people think should be in England squad for the 50 over World Cup. That is Mr. Harry Brook, who, as he so often does, is looking in brilliant form. He's 28 from 18. He's hit 3 sixes down the ground and square the wicket. He looks in some touch. But this, Adrian, is all far too easy for England. They're 115 for 2 and they need just 25 more runs from 49 balls.
Everton have just fired wide. We're still in the first half here at an 8 o'clock kickoff. Doncaster 0, Everton 0. Elsewhere it's half times in the Carabao Cup second round. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 4, Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0, Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0, and live on Talksport 2, Chelsea 1, Wimbledon 1. The Dons did lead at Stamford Bridge. Champions League qualifying playoff second leg still in the first half. PSV lead Rangers by a goal to nil and lead 3-2 on aggregate. Stays like that. PSV go into the Champions League group stage. Rangers go into the Europa League. You're listening to Kick-Off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. And this stadium has just erupted because the home side lead Jim Proudfoot.
And you'd have to say that over 45 minutes it is just about deserved. Joe Ironside flicking in a Tommy Rowe ball from a corner that was needlessly conceded by Mikalenko. The corner work short out towards Rowe in space on the edge of the penalty area, and almost a carbon copy of the move that very nearly got Donny ahead just 2 minutes in. Left-footed delivery from Rowe, and Everton held the line. It was Ironside that came in 6 yards out and flicked a header past Jordan Pickford. He must have been close to being offside. There's no VAR here. The flag stayed down, and Joe Ironside, who once scored a goal for Cambridge and knocked Newcastle out of the FA Cup, has caused Everton no end of problems here, Lucy.
Yeah, I mean, Donny deserved to be in front in this game. Everton have been awful, and I think that they're a team that's really lacking in confidence, Everton, and sometimes it manifests itself in looking like you're not running about. They're making mistakes. They've had one moment of quality, and that's when Danjuma got in behind with good interplay with Onana. But other than that, they look tentative. They're passing the ball to players playing out of play. They're giving it when they're not ready, and they just don't look at it. And I think that Doncaster have been a real credit.
Now Everton on the front foot, trying to get back on level terms straight away, and that is their first shot on target. Onana forcing a decent save out of Ian Lawler at his near post, but Donny will be able to bring it forward on the counter-attack. Molyneux's been excellent on this right-hand side. He feels as though he's got the beating of Mikalenko, who's given him plenty of space. That has caused major problems for Everton. There was one long diagonal ball about 10 minutes or so ago, and but for a horrible bounce in front of Molyneux, he would have been clean through with a shooting opportunity on Jordan Pickford's goal. Everton 50% possession, 41 minutes for the first attempt, which was a Danjuma effort that flashed across the face of goal, and 45 minutes for the first shot on target. We're deep into the second of 2 added minutes at the end of the first half here, and Doncaster have another set piece. It is down towards the corner flag, and Luke Molyneux has gone down there to take this along with Zane Westbrook. They take charge of most of the set pieces between them. Donny got Rowe again in a position on the edge of the penalty area, and no Everton player has picked him up. They're marking zonally, and nobody is near Rowe. If they can get it to him, might be in a position to deliver again. Now Everton do pick him up. The corner, the free kick, works short. Westbrook will deliver. Rowe's come onto it. Pickford throwing himself to his right, bundles it away, and then Farl on the follow-up can't bundle it in. And a half-time whistle goes, and Everton, booed off by their support, will be mightily relieved. They're only 1-0 down to the side, 92nd in the Football League. Rowe with that shot, well saved by Jordan Pickford, who's kept Everton in this League Cup tie. Everton have been desperately poor. You get a cup draw like this against a side bang out of form like Doncaster, and you're out of form yourself, short of confidence. I guess you can see the headlines writ large, and that's how Everton have been playing. There have been no positives whatsoever from that opening 45 minutes. The 7th half of football they played this season, still they haven't scored a single goal, and after 3 consecutive league defeats, they find themselves a goal down at half-time to the side bottom of League 2. Half-time, Doncaster 1, Everton 0.
Well, Lucy Ward, what a phenomenal performance in that first half from the side bottom of the EFL. Grant McCann's side have been the better of the two. Everton have been absolutely awful. How do you explain a performance like that from a Premier League side? Albeit, yep, some of their main 11 are not in the team. I get that. That's still a side that should produce some quality. They've been dreadful. Yeah, they have. I mean, it's free to run about, and that's what Everton need to do. They need to. They just look completely lacking in confidence. And what Sean Dyche will have said to them at the start, he'll have said, "There's a reason why the TV cameras are here tonight, because they're thinking that you're not playing well, that you're a team that could get knocked out by a League Two side. Do not be the story." And they're becoming the story because there isn't connections between players. And like I say, when you are lacking in confidence, this is difficult to understand from a fan point of view. If you're lacking in confidence, the fans to them it looks like you're not trying, that you're not running around, because they're not brave. Nobody's getting the game by the scruff of the neck. I look at Onana. He has every single attribute to be a top centre midfielder, but he just needs a rocket all the time. And Sean Dyche on the side has tried to do that from the side. And I would suspect if you were in there now, they would be stripping paint off the walls in terms of the information and how annoyed that he'll be. But that's what it manifests itself. It looks like you're not trying, but they're not connecting passes. They're not making good decisions. And some of the play, Danjuma looks like he's offended that he's been put on the pitch against Doncaster, and you cannot have that in your team. Yeah, the attitude of some of the Everton players has to be questioned just simply by their body language alone. On the flip side of that, Doncaster's body language is, let's get at them. This lot have not had a good start to the season. We can do something special and kickstart our season. Any wonder Grant McCann was smiling. He probably knew what was coming up. They've been on the front foot. They've been exciting. Yeah, they have. And, they've been positive. They've pressed well at times. I think they've been, we sort of like scoffed a little bit before about it, saying that they're fluid within the formation, but they actually have been fluid in the formation. They've pushed Maxwell up on that left-hand side. I think the two forward. I think the only thing you would say about Doncaster Rovers, which you would probably expect, is they just haven't had the quality in the final third. But you expect that at the bottom of League Two, but they've still scored the goal, and they look like they were going to get a second just before half-time. And that is all about energy. Getting the ball in the right areas. Molineux on this right-hand side, because of Everton being so narrow, Mikalenko is scared to death of him when he's fronting him up and he's taking him on. And that is just about attitude to defend right. And Doncaster have been brilliant. They have. Before the kick-off in the warm-up, you were saying that Everton's new £26 million striker Beto, who's literally only just arrived at the football club, he's on the bench tonight. You said he was looking around, standing there, watching the rest of the players in the warm-up. It seemed that his body language was, I'm better than you lot. He may well get a chance to prove it in the second half. Yeah, I don't think that one of the reasons he's probably standing around in the warm-up is I don't really think that they're going to use him tonight. I think that the Premier League, they need a 9 that's fit in the Premier League. Chimiti's really struggled. He's tried to work hard up front. When the ball's been played into his feet, it's bounced off him, and that's all confidence. And that is from the team as well. When you come in as a new sign like Chimiti has done, and playing on your own up front, you can sense that lack of confidence from the rest of the team, and it's not like you just fit in and you go down to their level, but he needs to keep working as well. Well, just looking at the bench, I think it was Ashley Young who came running in, which seems to suggest he may be coming on at half-time. And in commentary there, Jim Proudfoot was spot on. There was more than a sniff of offside about the goal, but hey, who's complaining? It's Carabao Cup. We love a shock. There's no VAR, and I'm more than happy with that, and so are Doncaster Rovers, who lead by a goal to nil. Let's just put that in perspective. Doncaster, bottom of the EFL, lead bottom of the Premier League Everton by a goal to nil at half-time here at the Eco Power Stadium. Half-time in the Champions League qualifying playoff second leg as well in Holland. David Tanner.
PSV 1, Rangers 0. The better team are ahead in Eindhoven, but Rangers are still in it. PSV had several good chances in the earlier part of the first half. Luc de Jong, their captain and number 9, missed the target twice, and Joey Veerman forced goalie Jack Butland to punch the ball to safety. Having absorbed the pressure, Rangers could have taken the lead on the break when Tavernier launched a long ball from defence towards striker Cyril Dessers, who ran from the halfway line, controlled the ball, went all the way to the edge of the box, and when one-on-one with the goalkeeper, Dessers hit a shot just past the post. He should have scored. Then the Dutch cranked up the performance, and Rangers were given a real fright when Butland had to clear a close-range effort from PSV's Ismail Sabiri. Now, just a couple of minutes later, the midfielder had another chance for the header, and this time Butland couldn't save, and the Dutch moved ahead for the first time in this tie after 35 minutes of the second leg. Sabiri has been linked with Liverpool and West Ham. He also scored at Ibrox last week. Rangers have played at the Philips Stadion on 4 previous occasions. They have never lost in this stadium. At half-time, it's PSV 1, Rangers 0, 3-2 to the Dutch on aggregate.
Right, we've got a penalty early in the second half at Harrogate. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 51 gone here. More bad news for the home side. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 4, but Harrogate just conceded a penalty right on the edge of their own area. Blackburn charging forward. 2 Blackburn players went down, but it's Buckley who's got the ball on the spot, and he now is up against Oxley. This to make it 5. Buckley, who's been outstanding tonight, barely put a foot wrong tonight. Short run up for him, right-footed, just rolls it nonchalantly in the corner. Oxley dived out of the way. Harrogate made a triple substitution at half-time, including putting on their main man, Luke Armstrong, but it's made no difference. This is a question of how many Blackburn want to score. Buckley's got a second. It's Harrogate 0, Blackburn 5.
Well, Luke Armstrong needs to score at least 5. He's never scored in the League Cup before, so big job on for him in the second half. The son of the former Middlesbrough and Ipswich striker Alan Armstrong. All over in the cricket at the Riverside, Sam Ellard.
Yeah, this is the first of 11 white ball matches England have over the next couple of weeks in this country, all ahead of England flying to India for the 50 over World Cup, where of course they are the defending champions. Well, if tonight's anything to go by, Aid, I think we've got an exciting couple of months ahead, which could also perhaps end in more one-day glory for England. They've beaten New Zealand in this first T20. In fact, they thumped New Zealand in this first T20 by 7 wickets. Earlier on this evening, Josh Buttler won the toss. He said, "We'll have a bowl, please." England did really well with the ball, restricting New Zealand to just 139 runs for 9 wickets from their 20 overs. Brian Cast, I'll say the pick of the bowlers on his T20 debut. 4 overs, 3 for 23. He was really impressive, as was Luke Wood at the beginning and at the death, and we saw all 3 England spinners bowl really well. Economical stuff from Liam Livingstone, 1 for 25 from 4 overs, 1 for 18 from 3 overs for Rashid. Moeen Ali bowled 2 overs, he picked up 1 for 11. Johnny Bairstow went cheaply in reply. He was out for 4 runs, edging Tim Southey to slip. But we saw a nice cameo from the young sensation Will Jacks, 22 from 12. Darren Milan took him a long time to get going, but he looked in pretty good touch, finishing on 54 before he was dismissed. But all the eyes going into this match were on Harry Brook in the T20 squad, but not in the squad for the 50 over games that's set to go to the World Cup. How does he respond? Well, he obviously looked $1 million, as he normally does. He finishes unbeaten on 43 from 27 balls, 2 4s, 3 6s, with a strike rate of over 150. Liam Livingstone unbeaten on 10. He ended the match with a massive 6 over deep mid-wicket. England in the end winning with 6 overs to spare, one of the more comfortable victories you will ever see in T20 cricket. England have beaten New Zealand by 7 wickets.
Just to let you know about the other Champions League qualifying playoff second legs, PSV as it stands are heading through into the Champions League group stage. Rangers are heading into the Europa League. Elsewhere, FC Copenhagen lead on the night against the Polish champions Raków Częstochowa, and Copenhagen will be heading through. That's 2-0 on aggregate. It's goalless in the other one. AEK Athens 0, Royal Antwerp 0, and if it stays like that, then Mark van Bommel's Royal Antwerp will be heading into the Champions League group stages. It's time for a bit of this. We have some transfer news from our transfer gods. Alex Crook.
Yeah, I think this is one very much to keep an eye on, Adrian, between now and 11 o'clock on Friday. João Paulinho is a player who's had a fair bit of interest over the course of the summer. 2 bids, as I understand it, from West Ham, rejected by Fulham. Bayern Munich, according to our sources in Germany, now actively pursuing a move for the Portuguese midfielder. £50 million the fee that's being touted. Fulham bracing themselves for a beat-the-deadline offer, and I think Paulinho would be open to this move. I think he was quite keen to join West Ham when they showed interest, so you can only imagine that Bayern Munich would be appealing to him as well. That would be a massive blow for Marco Silva between now and Friday night, having already lost Alexander Mitrovic. I'm sure Silva desperate to keep hold of Paulinho, but we're certainly, Adrian, going to be keeping tabs on this between now and the close of play on Friday.
Alex, thanks very much for that. Lucy Ward and I off air earlier were talking about how much we like João Paulinho, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about him is that he tackles, and in the Premier League it doesn't happen as much, in central midfield, so he's so key for Fulham. He's so key, and in a better team, with no disrespect to Fulham, he will be even better in terms of doing all the dirty stuff, breaking up play, and he actually wins the ball back, and that is so important for your team to get attacking as well.
It is, and a blow for Marco Silva if it does happen. Just very quickly on that, Marco Silva, remember, there was a story that he had the chance to go to Saudi Arabia. We all thought he was going to go. He came out and said, no, I'm staying. Now all his players are going.
Yeah, well, actually, somebody asked me, and I put Fulham down to be relegated. When I thought that Mitrovic was going, when I thought the manager was going, and there was talk of a couple of others as well, I thought, but then they've sort of established themselves. If they start losing in the next couple of days, losing players, then they'll struggle.
Yeah, but they won't have time to replace them, will they? Paulinho, who was instrumental, got the equaliser, but he was brilliant apart from that against Arsenal at the weekend, a 2-2 draw with 10 men. That's how big a player he is for Fulham. Can't afford to lose him. Transfer blog on the website, talksport.com. Check that out, it's ever moving. And on Friday night on Talksport 2, the window closes at 11, and 7 through till 10 I'll be hosting a transfer deadline show. After that, Jim White and Alex Crook will take you through the window closing with all the stories and plenty more from what we expect to be a busy time between now and that window closing in the transfer market. Listen to Kick-Off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. This is Kick-Off on TalkSport, taking you round the grounds, bringing you all the goals as they go in. And Everton here at Doncaster, a goal down the Premier League side, and they've just kicked off the second half. But it is a second half that features a new look Everton. To tell us more about it, the former Leeds striker Lucy Ward alongside Jim Proudfoot.
Well, I don't know how many Sean Dyche would like to have taken off at half-time, but he made do with just the 3. So Young's come on for Patterson. Beto on for his debut has replaced Chermiti. And Idrissa Gana-Gay's on for Dobbin, which has seen Garner move out into a wide position, and Gay taking his role in the centre of midfield alongside Onana. It simply can only get better as far as Everton are concerned. Trailing to a Joe Ironside goal. He was offside. Replays conclusively proving that he was offside. There's no VAR here. But for all that, Doncaster do deserve to be ahead. Donny 1, Everton 0 at the start of the second half.
And we'll keep you updated with that on Talk Sports. See what Beto can bring to this Everton side. Goals, hopefully, as far as they're concerned. We'll see how this second half goes. Doncaster leading Everton by a goal to 0. Well into the second half at Stamford Bridge. What's been happening? Talksport's Alex Crook.
Yeah, hour gone here, Adrian. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1, as it was at half-time. Chelsea coming from behind, courtesy of Noni Madueke's penalty, right on the stroke of 45 minutes. That counted out. Wimbledon taking the lead themselves from the spot with only 19 minutes played. James Tilley converting after Harry Pell had been punched in the head by Robert Sanchez. Chelsea called upon Nicholas Jackson from their bench at half-time. He immediately made an impact, seeing a shot saved by Alex Bass after cutting in from the left-hand side and firing goalwards. Right-footed Conor Gallagher has also tested the reflexes of Bass at the other end. AFC Wimbledon still look dangerous on the counter-attack. Chelsea still looking a little bit lethargic, and it's worth pointing out AFC Wimbledon some 60-odd places below Chelsea, down in League 2, despite the fact they've made a brilliant start to their domestic season, 5th in the table. They didn't sign a single player for money this transfer window. All free transfers, all loans. Chelsea, with the likely addition now of Cole Palmer that we've been talking about throughout the evening, they spent just the 400 million. If they don't win this game, if they don't win it with something to spare, that's not a great night for Mauricio Pochettino. Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
And it's live on TalkSport 2. You can swipe between TalkSport and TalkSport 2 on the TalkSport app, or just tell your smart speaker to play TalkSport 2. Load of podcasts on there as well. On the way up here, I was listening to clips of the week from Friday on H&J. It's 3:30 on a Friday if you want to hear it as it goes out, or you can catch it on the list of podcasts on the Talksport app. Let's go to the City Ground. Latest there, Jeff Peters.
It's still Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0. An hour played and still no shot on target from either side, but various problems for the Burnley boss Vincent Kompany. He's had 3 players now go off because of injury. Vitinho in the first half, Aaron Ramsey on his full debut for the club 5 minutes after the restart, he's gone off. But probably the worst looking one of the lot, Hjalmar Ekdal, the Swedish international defender. There was a long delay while he had treatment. He's been stretchered off. Josh Cullen has come on to replace him. So certainly real concerns from Burnley's point of view in losing 3 players to injury in this game, particularly Ekdal. In terms of Forest, Anthony Elanga showing some skills down the left-hand side, got to the byline, skipped past a couple of challenges, but his ball into the box, well, Forest couldn't really do much with it. They might have a chance here as they push towards goal. There's a shout for a penalty, but that really wasn't a handball, and Bobby Madley was well placed to call that one. So with 61 played, it's Forest 0, Burnley 0.
So we'll head to Bramall Lane in search of goals with Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
Still no goals. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0, 64 on the clock now. A couple of decent opportunities, one for each side. First, Cameron Archer put through. First time he got beyond the Lincoln City defence. Jensen down well to deny him. His first effort on target. Sheffield United's first effort on target of the night, and Archer's since been substituted as Paul Heckingbottom empties his bench. All 5 subs made now by the Sheffield United boss. As for Lincoln City, they've been a bit more adventurous in this second half as well, as a double change being made for the visitors. Mandrew with a lovely run, delayed his pass just, well, it looked like the right time for Bishop, who had made the run on the inside right channel on the stretch. He hit his shot wide, but a little bit more adventure from Lincoln City in this second half. Dean Ashton.
I've been so impressed with Mandrew, honestly. His close control, the skill levels. When he gets the ball and starts to run with it, he's got his head up, he's looking, like you said, for that run of Teddy Bishop, and like you said, that pass was almost perfect. I also like the fact that Hackett has gone up top and he's held the ball up well. They've looked the better side, Lincoln, I have to say, in terms of their all-round performance, looking more dangerous. I can't tell you how poor Sheffield United have been.
Has there been any improvement from Sheffield United?
No, there hasn't, and that's why he's now made another 3 changes. He tried to bring on Traore, who's looked lively without combine. I mean, when you've got 2 strikers, you'd want them to combine. You'd want them to be a pair that actually work together. Hasn't worked at all. Still lack the intensity. This game is here for Lincoln.
The longer it goes on, the more it feels like it. The 3,000 Lincoln City fans to our left-hand side, many of them stood behind the goal to our left, anticipating maybe this is their night for a first victory at Bramall Lane since 1983. They're looking positive again midway through this second half. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0.
We've got another goal at Harrogate. Mark Wilson.
It is Harrogate 0, Blackburn 6. Zach Gilsonen on as a substitute at half-time. His first touch, he actually cracked a shot, hit the top of the crossbar and went behind, but he's just been brought down in the D. He got himself back up. There was only him going to take the free kick, and he's lashed it round the wall. Oxley rooted to the spot, and it's just smashed into the back of the net. Great strike from him. This has just been an amazing performance. The pleasing thing, I think, for Blackburn fans tonight, normally when your team maybe goes 3-4-0 up, they sit back a little bit. Not a jot of it here. Blackburn are going for the jugular. It's 6-0 with 67 minutes left. There's more goals in this for Blackburn, should they want them. Thankfully for Harrogate, Gallagher's gone off. Not much respite though here. Quarter of the game to go. It's Harrogate 0, Blackburn 6.
Well, Zach Gilsonen, another one who his only start before this was that game in which he scored at Walsall in the first round. The only one who has yet to score. Niall Ennis, his only start against Walsall, he scored. So let's see what happens tonight. But I think Blackburn are definitely going through 6-0 at League 2 Harrogate. So no shock in North Yorkshire. Let's go back to South Yorkshire. Let's go to back to Bramall Lane. I want to ask Dean Ashton a question. I'm looking at the stats of your game. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0. Sheffield United of the Premier League, Lincoln of League 1. And Sheffield United absolutely dominating possession, 72% possession. But what exactly are they doing with possession? What are they doing with the ball? Because it sounds like they're not threatening at all.
No, they're not. They're playing it into Norwood, getting it back to the centre-backs. looking to switch the play because that's where the space is being given by Lincoln. But I'm not over exaggerating this, They've been so good, Lincoln, in terms of denying any space, whether that's in behind or between that back three and the two midfield players. They've been so good at it, and Sheffield United just haven't had that energy that you need and the quality against a side that have set up in the way that they have done. So you've definitely got to give credit to Lincoln, but as Lucy said in her game, if these players, if you're not up for the fight and you're not up for the game, it will show.
Well, it is still goalless there. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0. Remember, if it's goalless on 90 plus injury time, then it goes straight to penalties. No extra time in the Carabao Cup, and that led to real excitement, drama, entertainment and jeopardy last night in all the games. Could be more tonight. It's all square at Stamford Bridge as well. Let's go back there. Talksport's Alex Crook.
Yeah, still Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1, 67 minutes on the clock. Chelsea really struggling against their League Two visitors. They've brought off the bench over the course of this second half pretty much £170 million worth of talent. Enzo Fernandez, Nicholas Jackson, who I mentioned had an immediate impact after coming on at half-time with that shot saved, and Malo Gusto, £30 million player, the latest to come on. He came on because Levi Colwill looked to have picked up an injury, went straight down the tunnel, Colwill, after conversations with the Chelsea medical team. Now, that could be really important on two fronts. One, of course, is that Gareth Southgate is about to name his latest England squad, and I think Colwill, having been one of the star performers of the under-21s Euros win in the summer, would have fancied his chances of being in that squad. Also, Mark Cucurella, of course, in talks over a potential loan move to Manchester United. If Colwill has picked up an injury, you wonder if that could scupper that deal between now and Friday. So we'll try and find out from Mauricio Pochettino exactly what has happened to Colwill, what injury he may have picked up, but worrying times perhaps. 68 gone, Chelsea 1, AFC Wimbledon 1.
We've got another Champions League goal in Holland. David Tanner.
And it's bad news for Rangers. It's now PSV Eindhoven 2, Rangers 0, and it's a second goal on the night for Ismail Sabari. It's his third of this playoff tie. Jordan Tetsi crossed from the right hand side, went up to Luke de Jong at the back post. He kept it alive, got it across the face of goal, and it was Sabari to put the ball past Butland, who was totally exposed. It's now PSV 2, Rangers 0 on the night, 4-2 to the Dutch on aggregate.
Surely no way back for Mick Beale and Rangers, and it will be Europa League football for Rangers this season. By the way, the England squad announcement that Alex Crook was just talking about, 2 o'clock tomorrow, coverage across Talksport on Hawksbee and Jacobs from 1 o'clock, and on Drive as well, which will also include the Champions League draw. Busy show for Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent from 4 through till 7 tomorrow on Talksport. Let's catch up with what's been happening here at Doncaster. Home side still lead. Lucy Ward and Jim Proudfoot.
And we play 56. It's Doncaster 1, Everton 0. Joe Ironside's goal right at the end of the first half. The difference between the two teams. James Garner, one of 3 that came on for Everton at half-time, is actually playing at right back. Ashley Young ahead of him on the right wing. And Young and Gay's introduction mean that the Everton players that have been involved tonight have between them 266 international caps. 10 of the 14 that have played in Royal Blue tonight have played for their country. Yet they've been second best here. Beto is a physical presence up front, there's no doubt about that. Everton have marginally improved in this second half, although everything is relative. That set a very low bar in the first period. There's been a little bit more zip about them, Lucy, but it's Donny that looked the more likely side to score the second goal of the night.
Yeah, listen, Dyche has given Everton a rocket at half-time, and so they're running out a bit more. The intensity's higher. I think just Agaye's made a difference, just sitting in front of the back four. I think Beto looks like he's prepared to have a little bit of a battle. They've played the ball into him a couple of times. But still, in terms of quality, I mean, this game is important because this type of performance is the one that the fans remember when you're not winning in the Premier League. So that's why, and it might be against League Two Doncaster, but when you're not winning in the Premier League, the fans remember, they think that you're not trying, that you're not running about. So Everton just need to put all that bit of effort in and have that bit of quality. But Doncaster, they're defending well. They've hit on the break a couple of times, and they look quite comfortable.
And it's the psychological effect it would have as well, going into what is already a massive game for them on Saturday. Sheffield United away has clear and obvious ramifications, even in early September.
Yeah, and you're listening to Dean, and it sounds like Sheffield United are playing exactly the same as Everton are playing. They're not real quality, probably not really as confident, and facing an opposition who just think, well, we're going to go for it. We're just going to play with intensity and try and win this tie.
Been one notable attempt in this second half. It fell to Donny's George Broadbent. It was saved. We play 58. And it's Doncaster 1, Everton 0.
And that game on Saturday lunchtime, Sheffield United against Everton. Huge one already in the Premier League season. And that is live and exclusive and only on Talksport. Join Faye Carruthers at Bramall Lane from 11 a.m. on Saturday lunchtime. We've got another goal at Harrogate. Mark Wilson.
Yeah, 74 gone. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 7. We mentioned last time you were with us, Adrian, that Sam Gallagher had gone off. Well, in his place came the youngster Thomas Bloxham, making his debut for Rovers. He's looked really skillful since he came on. Quite small, lot of the ground, really skillful. He's just picked up the ball, edge of the area, weaved his way through, and he has scored. And speaking of scoring, because at the same time that Thomas Bloxham came on for his debut, James Edmondson also came on for his debut, and he's just gone clean through on goal, and he's slotted it past Mark Oxley. What a couple of moments for the two Blackburn debutants. Thomas Bloxham with the 7th goal, James Edmondson 17 years of age, and he's just rolled in an 8 for Blackburn. I said if Blackburn wanted to score more they could do, and there's 15 left here. This is a massacre. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 8.
Wow, Harrogate definitely going out. That is humiliation when the teenagers are coming on and scoring goals for Blackburn, and boy do they produce some good players from their academy these days. We've got another goal back at Stamford Bridge. Which way, Alex Crook?
And finally, Chelsea lead. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. Enzo Fernandez, the £100 million man, off the bench to score his first goal in English football. But it's a nightmare moment for Alex Bass, the AFC Wimbledon goalkeeper. Cucurella with a raking ball down the left-hand side. Out comes Bass. He's played his clearance against Nicholas Jackson. It's then hit one of his own centre-backs. Falls kindly for Fernandez, who from around about 20 yards out, calmly slotted into the bottom left-hand corner. Relief for Chelsea and for Mauricio Pochettino. They were behind in this game. Now they lead. It is Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Well, early scare when the Dons went in front, but Chelsea have resumed normal service, it seems, at Stamford Bridge. So the latest scores: Carabao Cup second round, Harrogate 0, Blackburn 8. EIGHT 8, Forest 0, Burnley 0, Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0. Here it's Doncaster 1, Everton 0, and Chelsea 2, Wimbledon 1. And then the Champions League qualifying playoff second leg. Looks like Rangers are heading into the Europa League because they're 2-0 down away to PSV, 4-2 to the Dutch on aggregate. You're listening to Kickoff on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeatGambleAware.org. Well, the big story of the night is here at Doncaster. They lead Everton by a goal to 0, but we're only on in the 65th minute here at the Eco Power Stadium. This one kicked off at 8 o'clock. Taking your calls on the Sports Bar with Jamie O'Hara and Dean Saunders. When these games are all done, they'll have the draw for the third round of the Carabao Cup as well. We've got a goal in the Champions League in Holland. David Tanner.
Yeah, it looks like it's been disallowed. Rangers had the ball in the back of the net. It was Sam Lammers who set it up for James Tavernier at the back post, but the Rangers captain had just crept offside. So the score remains 2-0 to PSV on the night, 4-2 on aggregate.
So goal disallowed, and hope for Rangers is disintegrating. That halfway through the second half as well. That was an 8 o'clock kickoff too in Eindhoven. Let's go to the Carabao Cup second round, to the City Ground. Talksport's Jeff Peters.
It's still Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 0, almost 78 minutes played, and we still haven't had a shot on target, which tells you what this game has been like. Forest have made a triple change. Morgan Gibbs-White, Harry Toffolo and Brennan Johnson have come on to try and liven things up for Forest, who really, well, they haven't tested the goalkeeper at all in this game. Do you think as the home side they would have a good deal of pressure and possession and get into dangerous areas, but they haven't managed to do that. Burnley have lost 3 players to injury. They've just made another set of substitutions themselves, including Lyle Foster, the striker. I'm sure neither side want to take this to extra time, but those 3 injuries for Burnley, they will be of great concern, particularly Hjalmar Ekdal, who was stretchered off in this second half. It remains Forest 0, Burnley 0.
As the Doncaster fans here sing to Sean Dyche, you're getting sacked in the morning. Doncaster 1, Everton 0. What's going on up the road at Bramall Lane? Dean Ashton and Mike McCarthy.
We've got 8 minutes of normal time remaining. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0. Since you were last with us, Ollie Norwood's free kick, a lovely delivery, tempting for Egan, but he headed down and wide. And still, really, Sheffield United's only effort on target coming through Cameron Archer 5 minutes into the second half. They've looked very poor going forward. Lincoln City, well, Mark Kennedy, their manager, has described his group as very coachable. I think we have to say, Dean Ashton, very well coached as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he'll be starting to think, do they take some risks? Do they start to throw a few more bodies forward? Does he let Mandrew and Bishop get higher up the pitch to try and support the centre forward that's Makama, who's just come on? Or do they just consolidate and just think it would be amazing to get to penalties and we'll take the chances with that? Because it's been such a good performance from Lincoln, defensively outstanding.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say this, but would Sheffield United take penalties at this point?
I don't think they'd like to, no.
No, but I think when the game's gone,
I think we would. Adrian knows I absolutely love penalties, and Lincoln have deserved it. If you're Sheffield United, where's the urgency though? For it not to go to, I don't see it. I don't see it at all. I haven't seen it all evening. It's been a really, really strange performance, considering you'd want to get some real confidence into your side going into a massive game on Saturday.
We've sung the praises of Danny Mandroiu in this second half. Man that's just come off, Enrico Hackett as well, he's run himself into the ground. An impressive performance from him tonight too.
Very impressive. Started on the right hand side, and then once Ben House went off, he went up front and he held the ball up, he chased, he harried, he tried to make it difficult for that ball to go into Norwood. Lots of great performances, I have to say. I mean, Alex Mitchell, 21 years old at the back, he's been absolutely colossus at the back and been great on the ball as well, trying to play out.
Yeah, he made his debut from the bench against Blackpool at the weekend, the Millwall loanee Alex Mitchell. He's certainly impressed. We may well see him back in the starting 11 at the weekend for Lincoln City, who, as it stands, are taking Sheffield United to penalties and maybe more. Sheffield United 0, Lincoln City 0, 5 to go.
Right, let's go back to that Champions League game in Holland. David Tanner.
And it's now PSV Eindhoven 3, Rangers 1. Just to clarify, correct what I said earlier, James Tavernier's goal has stood. Rangers were given a lifeline therefore, and within 90 seconds the Dutch pushed ahead 3-1 with a mighty header from their captain Luc de Jong. So we've now played 68 minutes in the Netherlands. It's PSV Eindhoven 3, Rangers 1.
Well, just when they thought they had hope, what do you know, PSV go and score, and it does look like Europa League football for Rangers this season. Let's go back to the Enviro event. Have Blackburn declared, Mark Wilson?
Not quite. 6 minutes remaining here. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 8. The debutants were the latest goals. Thomas Broxham, 18 years old, neat finish from him, and then James Edmondson just a couple of minutes after that, 17 years old, scoring on his Rovers debut, and they've come close a couple of times since. Jake Garrett burst into the box. It was he who got the scoring underway on 10 minutes. He fired a shot just the wrong side of the post, hit the side netting, and we've just heard the biggest cheer of the night, an ironic one as well. Mark Oxley come up with a great save to deny Gilsonen, who has played in on goal, saved it well with his feet in the end. Harrogate actually having a couple of attacks recently, so maybe Harrogate just getting a little bit more of the ball at the end, but who can forgive Blackburn? What a performance this has been. I think first half they were outstanding, Blackburn. Second half I think is more been to do with the poor standard of Harrogate's second half performance. They've been blown away here. You mentioned it at the start, Adrian. envisaging that Simon Weaver's dad owns a club. It might be a good job tonight. Could be a bit of a tough conversation, that one. There's still time, and they're in on goal again here. There could be a ninth. Another good save. Oxley again denying. I think it was Edmondson with a neat flick over the keeper, but he got a good hand on it. It's behind for a corner. Still time for more. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 8.
Yeah, Blackburn fans, I'm sure, will want double figures tonight. 8-0 up away at Harrogate in the Carabao Cup second round. Big story of the night, though, is here at the Eco Power Stadium. Everton could be heading out. Lucy Ward and Jim Proudfoot.
Well, if it happens, it will be deserved from what we've seen through 71 minutes. It is Doncaster 1, Everton 0. We are seeing a little bit more purpose from Everton on the front foot now. Chance for Beto. Oh, he's put it 10 yards wide. It fell to him near the edge of the penalty area. It was pulled back, it was off balance, and he's hit a shot that almost was closer to the corner flag than the left hand post that he was aiming for. Prior to that, Lucy, Beto's actually been the one bright spot as far as Everton are concerned, because he's got pace, he's got power. We've seen one impressive run down the touchline, which was curtailed by a flag when you and I thought that the ball may well have stayed in, and that would have presented a chance for Decore. But other than that, there have been absolutely no positives for Everton whatsoever.
Yeah, Beto actually, like you say, that was his first mistake, and it was a wild shot. I mean, he's led the line well. I think he'd be a positive signing for Everton, but they're just not at it. And the players that are doing all right and are running around haven't got the quality. I don't think everybody's working to the maximum in this Everton team, which affects them. And Sean Dyche really won't be happy with what he's seeing. The fans are definitely not happy with what they're seeing.
No, understandably so as well. Beto is in again, and this time he's poked it towards goal. Past the keeper and in for an equaliser. A debut goal from Beto, and Everton are out of jail. Doncaster 1, Everton 1. And he's made an impact off the bench on his debut. How his teammates and their supporters needed that. Everton finally scored their first goal of the season. 375 minutes since Decore netted at Bournemouth on the last day of last season. Everton break their duck. 1-1. It's undeserved. Beto easily their best player tonight in this cameo that we've seen in the second half. The man that, having sliced one wide, kept his head and kept his feet to flick the ball past Ian Lawler and in for 1-1.
You know what, the Doncaster fans were singing what a waste of money when he shanked that one wide, and he's just answered those critics. He has been, I think, for a debut in a difficult situation for Everton, I think that he's been very good, Beto, and if he gets better, then he may be the answer for Everton, because there doesn't look anybody else that's going to score goals for them, and he just managed to poke it past the goalkeeper Lawler. But Doncaster have not really been under any pressure. It's not like they're defending at full tilt. They look comfortable, but Everton just haven't had the quality in the final third until that moment.
Just to put things in perspective, that was Everton's second shot on target of the night, their first in this second half. 11 attempts to 5 in Doncaster's favour, even after that goal. So they've had more than 2/3 of the attempts. And remember, they are bottom of the league without a league win to their name, only 1 point out of a possible 15. And Everton have got an equalising goal. They're about to bring Tarkowski on. 16 minutes for Everton to win this and avoid the ignominy of a penalty shootout. Doncaster 1, Everton 1.
Well, Lucy, I want to talk to you about, we talked about strikers earlier, Dean Ashton and yourself for strikers in your day. Dean saying those top elite strikers don't worry about a miss. Well, Beto missed badly, but that was a brilliant finish. He's got something about him that's definitely true.
Yeah, you know what, he's quick, he's tall and he's quick, and he doesn't mind that physical challenge, and Dean obviously absolutely right, because it was the wildest shot. It was absolutely rubbish on a rubbish night for Everton so far, and then the next time he got a chance, he just slid it past the goalkeeper. And I think that is so important for Everton going into this season, or going into the next run of games in the Premier League.
And Everton have made a change. Mikalenko has come off. He's been replaced by Tarkowski, who is partnering Michael Keane at centre half. Ashley Young's gone from right wing to left back, Godfrey to right back, and Garner has moved forward to a more customary position on the right-hand side of midfield. So a big switch around for one change in personnel. 1-1 with 15 to go.
Yeah, it was interesting. Straight after the goal, there was no celebrations from Sean Dyche, as I'm sure you would expect from him. It's 1-1, remember. What he did was, Mikolenko, he's bringing off, told him to get down so they could all have a big team meeting. To be fair to Grant McCann, he did exactly the same, Lucy, but Sean Dyche was getting that message across to his players, and I wonder what that message was with 15 left.
Well, it's been difficult, I think. I mean, Sean Dyche, he plays in a certain style of football, and if they're winning and they're doing all right, Everton, then that's all right. But when they're not, and they're making mistakes and they look poor, then the football looks really poor. And he recognises, I think, Sean Dyche, how important winning here tonight is, from the performance so far up until the equaliser, right, to the position they are in the Premier League. I think it's really, really important that Everton get a win.
Everton look different with a proper striker leading the line. Beto does look the part. It's early days, it's against the tight bottom of League 2, but let's see over the course of the Premier League season what he's made of. But I think in terms of just shaping that focal point, plus he's got a connection with the fans. He pointed to the Everton fans straight after scoring the goal, and in the interviews he's done after signing for Everton, he said he wants to build up that connection with the fans. He has an affection for the club and he wants to build something, establish something. He genuinely cares.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to connect with them. When he scored, he pointed at them, and you know, I just think that you have to be brave when you're playing in that number 9 position in a Premier League team, particularly one that's struggling, and just go, you know what, I'll make mistakes, but I'll score you goals.
Well, the Doncaster fans wanted a penalty there, but the players didn't really shout for it. Beto might be in again, Jim Proudfoot.
Left-hand side of the penalty area has been forced wide by Olowu. He's laid it back for Abdoulaye Doucouré. He's certainly been here, there and everywhere, Beto. He's been heavily involved, which Chermiti wasn't at all in the first half. And he's in the middle here, hoping to get on the end of a cross-come shot that comes in, beaten away by Lawler. That was good play by Ashley Young getting forward, and he will receive it again on the bottom left-hand corner of the penalty area. Young, who's been in the final of this competition, back in his first spell with Aston Villa. Everton doing what they can to get themselves on top here. Now around the edge of the penalty area, the ball's laid off behind Big Beto, and Donny will be able to clear out towards Ironside, and it's come off. Keane's had a torrid night. He hasn't been the worst of the Everton defenders, but he has struggled at times. It's ricocheted off him and goes out of play for a Doncaster throw. With 12 minutes away from penalties, 1-1.
1 apiece, and remember, if it does stay like this, Jim's right. After the 90 plus injury time, it goes straight to penalties. Royal Antwerp have scored. Looks like they're heading through 2-0 up on aggregate against Athens in the Champions League qualifying playoff. We've got a goal at last at the City Ground, Jeff Peters.
It's Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 1. Zeki Amdouni has scored it. Finally a shot on target with just 10-15 seconds remaining of the 90. The two attacking sides have been pretty poor during the game, but we finally have the breakthrough. We finally have a shot on target. Lovely control by Amdouni, the substitute, on his chest, and then he steered past Matt Turner inside the 6-yard box. Everybody looking towards the official on this near side. Was it offside? There was no flag. It's a calm finish, and they all went to celebrate in front of the Burnley fans over in the far corner. We are into stoppage time, and it is the visitors who have finally taken the lead here. Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 1.
Remember, Forest semi-finalists in the Carabao Cup last season. Looks like they're going out in the second round. Amdouni, I saw him on the first day of the season, looked decent, and he's added a goal to that this evening. Maybe the winner for Burnley at Forest. Another goal in Holland, David Tanner.
It's now PSV Eindhoven 4, Rangers 1, and Joey Veerman has added to a couple of great chances he had in the first half, and finally get the ball in the back of the net. And very, very lucky for him, it was almost touched by his own player Ibrahim Sangari on its way into the net. If he had touched it, he'd have been offside and the goal would have been disallowed. But as it stands, it's PSV 4, Rangers 1 on the night, 6-3 to the Dutch on aggregate, 12 minutes left to play.
There's 10.5 of the 90 left here at Doncaster. It's 1-1 between Doncaster and Everton. The rest of the games up and down the country are coming to a close. Final whistles are blowing, and I think Harrogate have tapped out at the environment. Mark Wilson.
They have. They've finally given in. Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 8. What a demolition job here from John Dahl Thomason's side. Made 10 changes tonight, but that showed no impact on the performance. They were in front inside 10 minutes. Jake Garrett with a lovely finish in the far corner past Oxy, made it 1-0. and it was doubled just 3 minutes after. Sam Gallagher was a threat for the hour that he was on the field. He was played over the top by Buckley. Neat finish, 2-0. Couple of big chances at the other end. Both fell for Jack Muldoon. Denied by the keeper Wallstedt for his first one, put his second one wide. That was as near as they came. Buckley got his first goal firing in from close range after good work from Gallagher and Brown. And when Dylan Markanday's shot was deflected in 4-0 at half time, you think it was as near perfect as Blackburn were going to get. But they continued second half. Penalty given after Tronstadt was brought down in the box. Buckley rolled it in nonchalantly for his second. Gilsonen, great free kick on as a sub, brought down edge of the box, fired in a wonderful free kick, whipped it round the wall. That was 6 with a quarter of the game left. And then when he took some of the big guns off John Dahl Tomasson, he brought on 2 youngsters, Thomas Bloxham and James Edmondson's teenagers, the pair of them, both on the score sheet. Bloxham in on goal, neat finish under the advancing keeper on 72, and then Edmondson an equally nice finish with 15 minutes remaining. Big night for them as well. There were chances galore at the end. They should have had more, Blackburn. They scored 4 in the first round, 8 in the second. Wonder what'll happen in round 3. Harrogate, well, they'll wait for a round 3 performance. It'll wait another year. Tough night for the home side at the Environment. It is Harrogate 0, Blackburn Rovers 8.
Well, wow, Everton nearly just got a winner. Jim Proudfoot.
And it was Beto again, with James Garner getting into a good position on the right hand side, and he fired in across. Beto's movement was brilliant, and the header so powerful, but it smacked back off Lawler's post and to safety. Lucy Ward.
I'll tell you what, if you imagine like a computerized header, on a computer game where the attacker just jumps beyond everybody and gets his firm header, it deserved a goal. It was absolutely unbelievable from Beto.
And they're on the front foot again, and they've hit the bar again. This time a drive from Danjuma on the left-hand side of the penalty area. It was dipping, but just kissed the top of the bar on the way over. They're looking far and away the more likely winners now, but have they left themselves enough time? 8 minutes to go. Donny are going to make a change. They're going to take off Mo Farl, the striker on loan from West Brom, and replace him with 16-year-old Sam Strawn-Brown, who will come on for his debut. He's only a first-year scholar here, but really highly regarded from down the road in Retford. Joined the academy as a 9-year-old, and he comes on now for the closing stages in midfield. So they go with 1 up front for the 7 minutes that remain. Doncaster 1, Everton 1.
Yep, I thought he was bringing on a schoolboy, and indeed he has brought on a schoolboy. 16-year-old comes on. Let's go to Bramall Lane, all over, but not all over, Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, goalless after the 90 minutes. We are into penalties. Ollie Norwood's just stepped up and scored for Sheffield United. Danny Mandroiu, one of the shining lights for Lincoln City this evening, to take their first penalty in front of the expectant Lincoln City fans. And Adam Davis in the Sheffield United goal just stepping back onto his line as Paul Tierney makes sure that he's happy with everything. There's some issue with the Lincoln City goalkeeper, who's being told to move a little bit further away. So Mandroiu will have to wait just a little bit longer. Lincoln City, who have been excellent this evening, holding Sheffield United goalless. Now Mandroiu hits his penalty firmly into the back of the net, and it's 1-1, Dean Ashton.
I mean, how often do we see it when the player has to wait and wait and wait to take the penalty? It upsets their rhythm, it upsets their mindset. Not Mandroiu. Stepped up right in the top left-hand corner. Superb penalty.
Sheffield United's second penalty is going to be taken by 19-year-old Louis Marsh, academy product, 4 times an unused substitute before tonight, making his Sheffield United debut. Steps up right-footed, it's saved.
I mean, I have to say, Lucas Jensen looks absolutely huge in the goal with his big pink goalkeeping outfit on, and the poor young lad stepped up. It was a poor penalty, neither close to either posts. Pretty central, to be honest. Simple save, poor lad.
So Teddy Bishop has the opportunity to put Lincoln City in front in the shootout. Their second penalty of the evening. It's saved as well. Adam Davis going down to his left, saving with his feet, and it remains at 1-1.
What a strange run up from Teddy Bishop. Really tiny steps all the way up to the time he struck it. Brilliant goalkeeping though. This is where you can be a hero. Davis picked the right way, used his legs to good effect, Great save.
Right. Looks like Will Asula is going to take this next one for Sheffield United. One each, 2 penalties each. Asula shrugs his shoulders, right-footed, into the bottom corner. Jensen stood still and watched it go past him. 2-1 Sheffield United.
Oh, why couldn't the goalkeeper do that for every penalty I took? That was so easy for Asula. Just whipped it into the corner, but probably didn't need to because Jensen didn't even move.
It's going to be Ethan Hamilton for Lincoln City. 2-1 to Sheffield United. This is the 3rd strike for Lincoln City in front of 3,000 travelling fans. It's going to be a left-footed penalty, and that's fired low into the corner. And again, Davis stood up straight, watched for where it was going to go, and then watched it sail past his feet.
I mean, I guess we have to say that they're guessing that it's going to go down the middle and they can just be there to make the save. But then when it goes past you, makes you look a little bit silly as a goalkeeper. But I would say that is the way. If you're not sure, put the laces through it. Brilliant power on that penalty.
Benny Traore, one of 5 substitutes for Sheffield United in the second half, as Paul Heckingbottom tried to get some intensity into his side's performance. It never really got there. 2-2 in the shootout. Traore, it's a short run up, it's a stuttered run up, and it's saved! Jensen guessing, diving low to his left, and the Lincoln City fans behind the goal to our left hand side are starting to believe the upset is on.
It's that goalkeeping outfit, it's ridiculous. Honestly, Traore stepped up again, tiny little steps, looks as if he was going to whip it, he then just opened his foot out. It was so obvious he was just going to side foot it that way. Jensen saw it, dived to his left. Again, brilliant save.
Lasse Sorensen to step up for Lincoln City, the defender who scored in the first round at Notts County, makes it 3-2. And Lincoln City on the verge of a shock here in the second round of the EFL Cup. John Egan running forward has to score.
One of my favourite penalties, that run up as if you're going to smash it and then firm side foot into the right hand side of the goal, just inside the post. Best penalty of the night so far, that from Sorensen.
So it's the Sheffield United captain, takes a few paces back, going to strike it right-footed, hits the bar, over the top. Lincoln City have won it, 3-2 on penalties. They win at Bramall Lane for the first time in 40 years. The hero, Jensen the goalkeeper, and Lincoln City of League One knock out Premier League Sheffield United goalless on the night. 3-2 Lincoln City on spot kicks.
Big shock there. No big shock here at Doncaster. A late winner, Jim Proudfoot.
And with 2 to go, Danjuma has given Everton a 2-1 lead. They were beginning to turn the screw, and Danjuma, who's had a really poor night, got himself into a shooting position and stroked it past Ian Lawler into the bottom left-hand corner. A rapturous, relief-laden celebration from the 3,000 travelling Evertonians to our left-hand side. They know they've got away with one here, seemingly. 2 to go. Doncaster 1, Everton 2, Lucy Ward.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good finish from Danjuma. I don't think he's looked good all night, but he's got that goal. And to be honest, Doncaster have tired, and I think the substitutes for Everton have made the difference. And I just think the physicality difference between the Premier League and League Two has made a difference as well, because Everton have kept going, they've made good subs, and Doncaster have just run out of steam.
Well, it was Trevor Stephen and Gary Stevens that got the Everton goals the last time they played Doncaster nearly 40 years ago. Tonight, Beto and Danjuma, 2 of the new boys on target, and Everton seconds away from round 3.
Everton 2-1 up, having been 1-0 down. PSV have got a 5th. Connor Gold's an own goal. So Rangers definitely heading to the Europa League now. Lincoln of League One have beaten Sheffield United 3-2 on penalties. Premier League Sheffield United go out. Lincoln through to round 3. The draw coming up during Sports Bar. And Chelsea at one point looked like they might be heading out tonight, but they are through. Alex Crook.
They are just about through. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1. Brilliant effort from the League 2 side, who took the lead from the penalty spot. James Tilley lashing his shot right down the centre of goal after Robert Sanchez had come out for a corner and punched Harry Pell full in the face. It took until the first minute of first half stoppage time for Noni Madueke to equalise as Chelsea won a penalty of their own. Madueke, brought down by Alex Pearce, tucked his shot into the bottom right hand corner, but it needed Enzo Fernandez to come off the bench and win it for Chelsea. 18 minutes from time, Alex Bass, who had a great night in goal apart from one big mistake. It was a poor clearance from him, whacked against Nicholas Jackson's backside. It then hit one of the AFC Wimbledon defenders and the loose ball fell kindly for Fernandez to roll into the empty net from just outside the penalty area for his first Chelsea goal. Chelsea could have won by more in the end. Bass made a couple of excellent saves late on, most notably to keep out of Fernandez curler from the edge of the penalty area. Conor Gallagher blazed over from 6 yards, and then Fernandez, after Bass had been sent up for a corner, missed an open goal in the dying seconds. Great fun at Stamford Bridge in front of a near 38,000 crowd. A big ovation for the AFC Wimbledon players from their travelling fans at full time. It gives Maurizio Pochettino his first home win as Chelsea manager, but it was far from comfortable. Chelsea 2, AFC Wimbledon 1.
Well, in injury time and 6 minutes of it, Doncaster going forward, searching for the goal that will bring them a penalty shootout. They trail by 2-1 all over at the City Ground. Jeff Peters.
It's finished Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 1. 10 changes from the defeat by Villa, but Burnley are through. They left it late here. The first shot on target from either team produced the first goal, and incredibly it came with just a few seconds remaining at the end of the 90 minutes. Brilliant control from substitute Ziki Amondi, the Swiss international, collecting Brownhill's ball on his chest and then thumping beyond Matt Turner from close range. They should have got another in the 11 minutes of time added on. French winger Wilson Odobert was through one-on-one, but Turner denied him. Burnley lost Vitinho, Aaron Ramsey and Ekdal to injury. The Swedish defender was stretchered off on the hour. Forest made 7 changes from the weekend, were nowhere near good enough, although Anthony Elanga did have some positive moments. Full time, Forest 0, Burnley 1.
So let's take you through injury time here at the Eco Power Stadium. Can Doncaster find an equaliser and bring us a shootout live on Talksport? Jim Proudfoot.
Well, there are 4 minutes for them to find the equaliser they need. And at one stage in this second half, it was 11 shots to 2 in Doncaster's favour over the whole game. That's now 12 to 10, which gives you an idea of how Everton have been able to turn things around. Goals from Beto on 74 and Danjuma on 88. Breaking Donny Hart seemingly after the goal from Joe Ironside, albeit from a slightly offside position late in the first half, had given Everton a mighty problem. Doncaster just going to make a double change here. The players that are coming on, Satona at the back and Goodman is going to come on up front. Lucy Ward alongside me. Lucy, it looks as though Everton are going to go through, but that's just papering over the cracks of a desperate performance by Lyle.
Yeah, I mean, first half really poor from Everton. The players look lacking in confidence. I think the changes that Sean Dyche made to the team, I think it just again in front of the 2 centre backs makes a difference. I think Beto has had a brilliant debut just in front of goal again.
As Mope tries his luck, 29 games without a goal. It breaks for Garner, right-footed effort is blocked. Goalkeeper dive. The ball got nowhere near him as it came off Alowu and then smacked back into Garner and goes out of play for a goal kick to Doncaster. Just over 2 minutes to go. There will be another 30 seconds added on for the substitutions, but we're in the 5th minute of stoppage time now, and Garner's rolled it down the right-hand touchline for Everton, who lead 2-1. Beto firing it across very deep, way past Danjuma. And straight out of play, one bounce into the hoardings on the far side for a throw will be taken by Doncaster. We've seen him miss a header from a good position, slice horribly wide, take his goal brilliantly, and then have a powerful header hit the post. He's going to be one of those players that is going to be good and bad within moments.
Yeah, but he keeps going, Jim. I think he's come on and he doesn't let anything affect him, whether he does something good or bad. I think I've been really impressed. First impressions of him in this Everton team. Yes, they're playing against Doncaster and League 2 defenders who are probably a little bit tired when he came on, but he looks up for it. It looks like he's really willing to lead the line, but like you say, I think it masks an Everton overall performance and some players as well.
Neil Maupay trying his luck.
No, there's just something not quite right about Everton at the moment. It's just not clicking. But Doncaster, they've given absolutely everything. I think they just run out of legs, to be honest. I think that's what it was, rather than anything else.
Well, I think you can guarantee that if they can carry on playing like this on a consistent basis over the remainder of the season, once they've got players back, there's no way that they will be down towards the bottom of League Two. Everton, if they continue to play like this on a consistent basis the remainder of the season, might find a struggle to get away from the bottom three. They've got a problem at the moment for Godfrey, who is down. You're not missing anything. The clock ticking towards the 96th minute. Probably about another minute and a half to go here for Doncaster to try and find an equalising goal. But it is the Everton songs that you can hear from the fans away to our left-hand side, and they are songs born of relief rather than anything else. Godfrey back on his feet, taking the throw. Olowu will clear from the edge of his own penalty area. Michael Keane gets it forward, but brought down by Broadbent in the Doncaster midfield, and he punts it out towards the right-hand side for Molineux. Molineu's not had as much change in this second half as he did out of Mikolenko in the first half, where he had acres of space, but Doncaster get a throw on the far side.
Yeah, Ashley Young, at first when he came on, he's sort of right-sided forward with Jimmy Garner behind him, but then he's gone into left back when Mikolenko went out. They look in a better shape, Everton. I think the shape looks better with Gay sitting in front of the centre-backs, but still just lacking in quality at key times. And I don't think the Everton fans will be fooled by this. They'll be happy if they can go through and get the win and go through to the next round. But I think some of the things I've seen tonight, not impressed by.
Now Senior's lost it, and it'll be played for by Gay towards the edge of the area. He set up Beto, but he's offside. Put the ball in the net, turn around quickly, flag up against him. And with 7 minutes of stoppage time played, still a chance for Doncaster to get the ball forward. They've got to do so very quickly. It's Ian Lawler punting it from the back. Sean Dyche desperately waving his defensive cohorts back into position, but they've got away with it. Sean Dyche will shake the hand of Grant McCann, knowing that his Everton side are in the third round of the League Cup. Applause from the Donny supporters, because their team, 92nd in the league, played really well tonight. Everton have got away with one big time. 2 goals in the last 16 minutes have got them through. Beto on his debut, and then Arno Danjuma with the winner. Beto's performance, much the best thing about Everton's display tonight. There is an Everton player actually that has gone down inside the centre circle there. Don't know whether that was something that happened off the ball after the full-time whistle, but the Everton medical staff are there attending to him. Hopefully it's nothing untoward, but Everton on a really poor night, a proper 4 out of 10 performance at best, but they've got away with it. They've won by 2-1 to get through to the third round.
Well, Lucy Ward, just gather your thoughts. We'll talk about it in just a moment. Let's catch up though with what's happened to Rangers tonight. They're out of the Champions League, David Tanner.
And it finished PSV 5, Rangers 1. Rangers tumble out of the Champions League and into the Europa group stage after being unable to recreate the win they enjoyed in the same stadium in last year's playoffs. Linked with Liverpool midfielder Ismail Sabiri scored PSV's first 2 goals. The man of the match scored in both halves. Rangers pulled one back when James Tavernier just stayed onside, and when they looked like they might mount a comeback, they conceded a third within 2 minutes when Luke de Jong headed powerfully past Jack Butland. Rangers hit the post through Rabbi Matondo just before PSV scored a 4th through Joey Veerman. The 5th goal was a horrible error by Connor Goldson. Jack Butland played the ball to Goldson, who overhit his pass back to the goalkeeper and caught Butland on the back foot. PSV now going to the Champions League group stage. For the first time in 5 years, Rangers return to the Europa League, and they will have to accept that they belong there on the evidence of tonight in the Netherlands. PSV 5, Rangers 1 in Eindhoven, 7-3 on aggregate.
Well, I'll bring you all the full times in a moment. You might want to talk to the sports bar about Rangers being abysmal in that second leg. 03717 22 33 44. Let's go to Bramall Lane though. Carabao Cup second round. The shock tonight was there because Premier League Sheffield United are out, beaten on penalties, and Dean Ashton watched it. We said before the game that Mark Kennedy, the Lincoln manager, really rates his goalkeeper Lucas Jensen, and he shone bright in so many ways in that shootout, Dean.
He did, both with his kit but also with his saves. I mean, he just covered the goal because he's so huge, but also he guessed the right way and he was intimidating for the penalty takers, and that's what you got to do as a goalkeeper in these penalty shootouts. He definitely looked a different goalie, I thought, to Davis, but they deserved it, Aid. I mean, I know they took them to penalties, but they deserved it in the 90 minutes. I thought they were so good defensively. Lincoln made it really frustrating evening for Sheffield United, and actually looked quite lively on the counter-attack. Mandry, I thought, was brilliant, and you know, Bishop, when he came on, looked lively as well. They deserved it, Aid.
Dean, thank you very much here at Doncaster. I think Lucy Ward alongside me, it's just pure relief from Everton. Not just that they've got through this tie after trailing to Doncaster, bottom of League Two, but they've actually found themselves a striker who might just have enough to keep them in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great cup tie. I think Doncaster really played their part in it, and you know, I think from a Doncaster point of view, that performance might be the one that's needed to kickstart their league season. You probably could say the same about Everton in terms of finding a little bit of a solution in front of goal. You know, the subs made a difference. I think there was a real lack of confidence in Everton in that first half, and I think they improved in their intensity in the second half. They made the substitutions, that they made a difference, and they will also be hoping that the end of this game kickstarts their Premier League season.
I'm just looking at Beto. He's a giant, but he looks a player. I know it's League Two Doncaster. He came on for the second half. He looks like a giant, and he at times played like a giant as well.
Yeah, I think he just looks like he's brave, and I don't mean that he goes in for challenges. I mean that he's willing to sort of stand up and be counted, and that, when you're at the bottom of the Premier League, that is exactly what you need. When you haven't scored a goal in the Premier League and you want to kickstart something, that's what you need. A number 9 who's going to be there and drag the team by the scruff of the neck, and they'll be hoping to keep him fit and get him in front of goal, because there was. It looks a little bit different. He's probably about 6'4", but he can't half run. So he knocks the ball past and he runs, and so I think that it'll be a little bit different for Premier League teams to have to deal with.
£26 million striker Beto just arrived from Udinese. Looks the part on the evidence, limited evidence from what we've seen so far tonight. Lucy, thank you very much. Let me run you through the full times then. Carabao Cup second round tonight. Harrogate 0, Blackburn 8. EIGHT 8, Nottingham Forest 0, Burnley 1, Sheffield United 0, Lincoln 0, Lincoln City win on penalties 3-2, Doncaster 1, Everton 2 here, Chelsea 2, Wimbledon 1, and in the Champions League qualifying playoff second legs, AK Athens 1, Royal Antwerp 2, Antwerp go through 3-1 on aggregate. Copenhagen 1, Rakov Czestochowa 1 on the night, 2-1 to Copenhagen on aggregate. They're back in the Champions League group stage. They held Man City 0-0 at home in the group stage last season. And PSV 5, Rangers 1. PSV go through 7-3 on aggregate. All the losers, including Rangers, out of the Champions League and into the Europa League. Rangers having shipped 5 on the night. Mick Beale just not good enough for the Champions League, it seems, the Gers. Wimbledon led against Chelsea, but the Premier League side came back to win and go through. Here, Doncaster led Everton 1-0, but the Premier League side came back to win it and go through. But make no mistake, Everton, for large parts tonight, were absolutely awful. They head to Sheffield United live on Talksport on Saturday lunchtime. And tonight the shock came at Bramall Lane. Former Man City and Liverpool winger Mark Kennedy led League One Lincoln to a shootout victory at Premier League Sheffield United. The Carabao Cup delivering yet again on Talksport. Third round draw and reaction to tonight's games coming up on the Sports Bar next with the former Sheffield United striker Dean Saunders alongside Jamie O'Hara. They want your calls 03717 223344.